All right. Hope everybody's doing well. Checking everything. I think we've got everything set up here. Thanks for coming by for another outstanding, hopefully tasty Tuesday. And make sure our phones are on mute and everybody's ready to have a little fun. We're going to be doing something a little different tonight. And appreciate you guys stopping by. Hopefully, you'll learn a little something on the side. This is going to be not my first rodeo, but I've done these a lot on the side. I think I've only filmed maybe one or two blind tastings since I've had the channel. Um, I remember, I guess it's been at least a year or so. Scotch in the Bayou, Lee Rayner, she's down in Louisiana. We had a little. She set up a little, blind tasting, and we went really well. She had some really interesting bottles. They were all independent bottlings of distilleries that I normally wouldn't really get into. And I think one of them was a Dalmore that was really, really good. It was an independent bottling. Can't remember the exact year and whatnot, but it was a memorable experience, and I liked it a lot, and I enjoyed it. And a lot of people that were viewing or watching enjoyed it too. So I thought, well, what the heck, we should do it again sometime. And thankfully, Stephen Connor, he's one of the regulars on the show. Along with Malt and I, we're very lucky that he's been very cool enough to share a little salsa with us. So that is here, and we have a 1, 2, and 3 that we'll be taking a look at. Completely blind, have no idea what we're in for. I have poured these out, and they know that to pour these out beforehand for 15, 20 minutes, just to let them get some oxygen. And we're not going to be looking at the chat. Steven will, and Steven's going to share with you guys on the side um, some things about the bottles and what we're taking a look at in the background. Malt and I have it set to private chat, so we're going to be able to talk to each other if we need to type something, but we're not going to be able to see what any of you guys say. So please keep that in mind if you're talking, and because that way we don't want to know what we're trying here. So we don't want to be, tainted or thrown for a loop. So if you guys want us to know something, or if you want to ask us something, please feel free to send it though in the chat, and hopefully Steven will see it. You might want to do like an at Stephen Connor, whatever will flag his name so he'll see it, and he could, ask it after the fact. But we're not going to be able to see the chat tonight, guys. So please keep that in mind when you are, seeing, writing to us, or I haven't even seen the introductory chats yet. So I see there's like 5 comments already, but I'm just going to be good and not be tempted to click on that button to see all the comments. So please take that into account. This is something that I'll talk about the setup before the guys come and help me out here. Typically, when you do a blind to somebody, you want to try to keep it to like maximum. I would think would be 5. 4 is ideal. 3 to 4 is ideal. You don't want to go over 5 when you're doing a tasting in one sitting, typically, unless you're going to be spending a whole lot of time. I was lucky enough to do a really memorable one with a guy named KB and Bob H up in New York. Shout out to those guys if they're watching after the fact. But we did like 13 different SMWS bottles at one time. That was memorable, and we all did well, I think. It's just funny how it is tough to go through a bunch unless you're doing like, minor pours. Like, you got to be careful because, if you're like me, and I've been to an expo and I've had 32, 36 different offerings in one sitting. The reason I can do it is I make sure that if I do have a good pour, and if it's something I like, I do still drink a good pour of it. A glass of water after every one. Trust me, you'll thank me later. Always do a glass of water on the side when you're doing these. It's definitely best to have a number on the bottle, kind of like this, or a letter, A, B, C, D, E, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you don't have, like, some people like to use stickers, and some people like to mark them with tape and all these little, there's 1,000 different ways. Oh, let me make sure I gotta get them the the invite. I just realized that. Sorry for the delay. I was wondering where they were. Let me get that real fast. Oh gosh, where did it go? Here we go. Sorry about that. I knew I forgot something. I was overly prepared for everything else, but sending the link is something I have to do here. 1 second, guys. So sorry about the delay on that. And it's been sent. Okay. Whew, thank God. Thank God I reminded myself, because I'm not seeing any comments, and people are probably already sending comments like, "Hey, did you send them the invite yet?" That's so sad. It's been a great day, actually. It's just sad that I forgot that. But anyway, they'll be popping here in a second. But always do your tastings. You don't want to know what it is, but ask your host, like, is there a certain order we should do these in? Because if you're doing A, B, C, D, E, even if it's just 3 or 5, and if you do like a peated one first, or you do a heavily like ultra sulfury sherry bomb first, you blow your palate away, you mess it up for some of the other things that might be like a lowland or a highland or whatnot. So you want to try to do them in certain order. So always ask your host, at least for an idea of what they want, where they want you to go. And with this, we're going to be looking at several different things. We're going to be looking at region, age, ABV, distillery, cast type, and we're going to try to give it like a nose palate finish before and after water on the side with some notes. So it's going to be interesting. And speaking of interesting, this guy's always interesting.
Hey!
How's it going? How's it going, man?
What's up, buddy? Happy Tasty Tuesday to you, my friend.
Happy Tuesday to you. I was just telling them kind of the things that if I was hosting a blind, like what are the things I would, try to go through to give everybody a good experience. And I was just talking about how you definitely want to get the host to give you a good order, because you don't want to like try your peated or sherry bombs right off the bat.
100%. I 100% agree with you on that. I mean, like the surefire way to ruin a tasting is to start with Lafroig.
Well, it depends on one's outlook, but I know what you mean.
Right. Yeah. So, keep it within like or maybe a relative style or structure, or at least if you're going to try diverse things, like, my sense is try the smokier stuff last. With bourbon, I think it's like more proof. Like you're going to, with Scotch, you want the peated stuff last. If you're going to do a blind of bourbon, unless it's all high proof stuff, I would start with the lighter stuff first, just because like I think it's, you're not going to fry your nostrils, you're not going to fry your palate right away. So that's kind of where I would go on that. But
yeah, with Scotch, it's the same. It's really the same kind of thing too. You also want to watch your ABV, because if you do start out, even if it's like a Highland, if it's 55%, and then you do 40% like lowland, you're gonna really fry yourself, that way too. Either way, we got a guest here, and you've got your private chat on, not your regular chat, right?
That's correct. I have comments are off.
Cool. And there's Mr. Steven, our man of the hour.
Hey.
I like the shirt, by the way, too, Steven.
Oh, appreciate it. Yeah. No, this is for you guys, man. I just want to, and it's going to be fun for the chat too, to kind of know what you guys are drinking, and you'll have no idea, and then we can make fun of you. It'll be great.
Great. Isn't he just a guy?
Yeah, Steven, we really appreciate it, man. Telex, I'll let you set things up, but Steven is a good friend of both of our shows, and for the folks that are in the chat that we can't see, Steven has generously provided us 3 blind samples, and we're going to do a blind tastings tonight. Telex and I are going to get, see what we can figure out, and feel free to mock us and make fun of us as we totally get everything wrong.
And you guys had a chance to like air some of the ones out, especially the first ones, and.
Well, yeah, I was telling them, I was just giving them kind of a background of what to prepare, how to do a blind, because a lot of these guys that are watching, they might want to do it in their own whiskey clubs, some point. So I was giving them a heads up. Definitely ask your host, what's the best order to do them in. Definitely get an idea of how many minutes you should send them out for. 15, 20 is usually a good number to do. And get your, have some water ready so you can do your nose palate finish before and eat and after with a little drop of water. Always have water. If you're doing a major testing where if you go to one of those expos and you got 30, 35 drams to try, you got to, at least get a dram of water after, each one, so you're not burning yourself out, and make sure your pours are minimum, because if you, have a bunch of, 30 big pours of 60% alcohol, you're going to feel it after a while.
Yeah, completely. Yeah. I mean, it's really like the style of whiskey you're doing, like the goal of your flight. I mean, if you're going to do a blind flight of all barrel strengths, or, if it's going to be like 1 barrel strength bourbon at the end, I highly recommend it's the last one you do. It's Scotch. It's like if you're going to do a flight through a bunch of different regions of Scotland. Yeah, like Telex said, I mean, put the smokier stuff at the end so the folks get the most out of their flavor profile or on their palate. Like you start with a Lafroig first, you're gonna fry your buds to no end. So,
or even like an Abelauer Albanar or something, like a really heavy, spicy sherry bomb could like maybe get you in the beginning and make it hard for you to get some of those lighter florals or Highlands, Lowlands kind of drams too. So you never know.
Yeah. All right. So is it all right if I go ahead and tell everybody what they are? All your chats are off. You can't see.
Yeah. We're good.
Okay. Yeah, we're in private mode only. And I said, well, I don't really need to type to Malt, but if we do need to talk offline, we got the private chat we're looking at.
Yeah. My comments are off, so we're good.
Okay.
And we'll be, and Stephen was gracious enough to let us do the 1, 2, 3. He numbered them 1, 2, 3 in the order that he wanted us to take a look at. So,
and I got number 1 in the glass and a little bit left for water later.
And we'll get in here and we'll take them one each at a time. We're going to look at the region, the age, the ABV, distillery, cask type, and try to give you guys some notes, neat and after water, on the nose, palate, and finish. So.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I haven't even done a preliminary nose or anything on any of these, so it's going to be out the gate.
Yep. I will start nosing this first one now.
Ooh, I think we're going to be in for a treat already. I gave it like a swirl and just to see what the legs were like, and it really holds its shape. The legs run really slow, and I could tell it's going to be a good, at least a medium mouth coat on the first one.
Yeah.
Really nice fruit off the get-go in the nose.
Rich.
Huh.
I'm getting some kind of like almost butterscotch off of this.
Yeah, with an apricot too. It's interesting.
There's also a little bit of a bite to it, kind of on the end, and it's like borderline ethanol menthol. You know what I mean? Like sometimes that's a really hard line. This one's a little bit more on the menthol side for me.
You think it's
curious, like dried fruits going on? I'm guessing this is probably a relatively old whiskey because of the dried fruit notes.
It's there. It's funny because I'm having to dig a little deep to get a better nose. I'm not sure if it's.
Oh, Telex, this thing's. I smell it's so opened up. I mean, I've had it open. Maybe 20 minutes, 25. I don't know, but it's. I mean, on my nose, it's. I love it, but I'm partial, and it's a great nose. No,
that's good. I'm not saying that that's not. Yeah. I'm just trying to get more deeper in there so I can get more. I poured, as you can tell, my pour is only like, I'm trying to savor every bit of it. So I'm pouring like mini pours on this stuff.
It's sweet.
I'm going to give it a little more here.
Yeah, it's sweet. It's definitely sweet on the fruit, and it's sweet fruit. There's a little bit of like a menthol to it that's in the background. And again, I'm getting a lot of dried fruit. I'm thinking like dried orange, apricot or whatever, like big, which makes me think this is probably an older whiskey. I'm saying older than 18 years or older, just because of the dried notes in here, but hard to tell.
Okay, I'm keeping up with notes here, so whatever you guys say.
Oh man, there's vanilla.
So we can go over that at the end. So
are you getting any like I want to say almost like a melon note at all, like watermelon or like a cantaloupe or a
little bit.
Maybe can I say some notes or not?
Yeah, you definitely mention things that you get out of it yourself is fine. That's not going to really sway us. I don't think.
Think about strawberries.
Oh yeah,
strawberries out of that.
like I was getting like a combination of like the apricot with the melon type fruit with and there's even red berries in there too.
Definitely.
It's definitely a wow.
And I'm looking at the color here. Like I'm gonna guess this is probably got PX because of how sweet it is. Maybe Oloroso, but my guess is PX. Again, the dried fruit, I think it's probably a relatively well-aged whiskey. There's definitely some vanilla, some toffee.
There's some tobacco in there too.
A slight menthol note. Tobacco? Yeah.
There is some sort of earthiness. It's like a medium grade tea to like tobacco type of leaf note. Not heavy, not like a Springbank or anything like that, but more on the back.
I almost wonder if this has got a port finish in it.
Really?
Yeah, port. I don't know. I'm leaning more towards PX because of the sweetness.
I haven't tasted it yet, so I'll know more when I go to that. But let me write down some notes so I don't forget some of these too.
So there's a little bit of citrus, and I want to say it's like you said strawberry. I think that's totally right. It's like I don't know. It's like that sugary strawberry shortcake type thing, and then there's a little bit of what I almost want to say is like a sweet lemon lime. But it's way on the end.
How about Smarties? You get a little Smarties action in there?
Ooh, maybe.
Sweet. That's where the sweet. I get that from, like a sweetness.
I get this
vanilla. I get a little toffee too out of it.
Yeah, definitely.
I definitely get the toffee. For me, it's more of like darker flavors. I'm getting like even a little bit of leather, not heavy leather, but just like a real nice. It's barely there. It's just enough to detect, but I'm getting earthy flavors from it too, not just the sweet side. Huh. I think that does. Maybe that's where the age comes in. If it is an older one, I'm kind of.
Oh, wow.
Do you have a little sip?
Really rich. I think this is definitely a ex-bourbon. I mean, I would almost even go first fill bourbon on this if I'm just going to take a wild guess. It's ex-bourbon, ex-sherry, or ex-bourbon, ex-PX. Really nice development. Sweet, fruity. Again, the light caramel, light brown sugar. And the finish, towards the end of the development, heavy, like peppery jalapeno chili spice.
Oh wow, man! That is it's funny to me. I'm not saying the nose is tame, but the nose is it's complex, but it's when you taste it, man, it really like pops. I mean, it's
big time. The nose is much more. What's the word? Not delicate, but like refined than the palate, which is quite aggressive.
In a good way, though. It's not like there's no minerality. It's not like it doesn't have anything bitter going on. It's got a nice. The earthy tones are still there, where I think it does balance the sweetness.
Like blueberry yogurt. It's like some type of fruit yogurt. There's a little bit of tropical spice. It's like creamy, spicy, long finish. Creamy, spicy, long finish. Like vanilla, caramel. I mean, I'll be honest. Like this palate is throwing me a little bit for a loop. The nose screamed to me like well-aged. Like I'm talking 18 years, maybe 21. The palate has got me a little confused because it's very aggressive. But I mean, this is probably at least 18 years old.
There's even some like that little bit of truffle, a little bit of like nice earthy like mushroom in the finish, like toward the end.
Not getting that as much. I'm gonna try another sip.
It was like at my third sip.
There's something in here that I can't like. This has got like I'm using the word funky as a placeholder. It's like a mix between sweet. It's a sweet sour, but there's something. I don't know quite where it lands. Maybe earthy is right. Oh man.
Like sandalwood, maybe even in there. It's funny because I wasn't getting any florals in the nose at all, and now I'm trying to go back after having a little taste and seeing if I can get anything extra on the nose, and it's definitely like a sandalwood or a cedar type of deal. It's not oaky. It's not. I mean, it does taste like an ex-bourbon cask.
For sure.
So far, and I'm torn on the sherry. It's like I don't know. I want to say there's sherry, but I'm having a tough time like thinking if it's like a lot of Oloroso or just a little bit. I don't know about the PX. I'm kind of like,
this is what a Loch Lomond 18 should taste like. Because I'm starting to get that earthy note that you were mentioning, and for me, it's almost like a espresso. There's like a white chocolate and baking dark chocolate.
Yeah,
Right. What's that?
I think you're right. I think it is a dark chocolate, kind of a cocoa.
Yeah, I mean it's much more. It's not milk chocolate. It's much more of like a darker. And then there's that chili spice, and
put a drop of water in it too. If you want to, if you have any to do it.
Yeah, I definitely will.
Yeah, see what happens.
There's no way this is under 18 years old. I'm gonna plant my flag there. This is the length of this finish. We'll see how it handles water. I'm wondering if a little water.
Don't forget that ABV can fool you on the age. Like I'm with you. I do think it's at least 50 to 55% ABV. I'm just trying to think years wise. It's got some.
Yeah, if that's European oak in there though, it might not actually be that high ABV. There's a lot of spice. I don't know.
It's good. I'm trying to think if I've ever had anything like it before, and you might have nailed it. Maybe it is like a Loch Lomond because it's one of those stories where I've only had the Inchmere peated.
Yeah,
I've had the 12 basic, which I did not like very much, but this one is definitely does not have any soapiness that I do get on the Loch Lomond 12, which I don't like.
You had the Loch Lomond 18.
I haven't had the regular one, and that's why I'm thinking, well, maybe this is kind of along those lines because
this has got me thinking. The profile of this tastes a lot like the Loch Lomond 18, but if it's like a single cask.
Oh wow!
Like some type of like 52% ABV. Maybe it's like a 19 or a 22-year-old like single cask Loch Lomond for some reason. Independent bottling. I don't know.
I'm not sure if Steve will never buy a Loch Lomond though. That's what makes it tough.
Oh, hey, you have more info than I do. Maybe he wouldn't. I don't know.
He might. I can't remember if I know the distilleries that he's usually into, but he does have some surprising ones on the side that he might have had locked away for a long time too. Isn't it funny how we're talking about you like you're not there?
I know, that's all right. Just keep talking. I love it.
I'll tell you, with the addition of water, the bourbon notes are just like even stronger here. It's making me second guess the PX. But I'm gonna guess this is this is ex-bourbon for sure. The creaminess of it makes me almost think it's first fill bourbon, but there's no doubt in my mind there's ex-bourbon in this, and it's the dominant. If there's a finish at all, you know what? I take it back. I actually don't think there's PX anymore. I've lost the PX completely with the water. Maybe there's a hint of like ex sherry cask, but if anything, it's like European oak. If anything, it's like ex bourbon, ex European oak or something.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards ex bourbon. I'm trying to decide if there's like any finish where they had it 12 to 14 years in an ex bourbon cask, and then they put it like in a Oloroso sherry butt for 2 years kind of thing. That's where I'm kind of.
With water, the sherry notes are really kind of falling back on me.
Gone, yeah. I
think I might stick with sherry, but the ex bourbon on this is there's no doubt in my mind on this.
Oh, it does have a really nice.
You're not going to get that fruit note otherwise.
You wouldn't think you would, but
that fruit is too strong to be all ex bourbon. There's no. This is ex bourbon. Ex-bourbon, I don't know if it's PX. I'm going to stick with PX. It's ex-bourbon and PX finish.
All right, so what Jason, what's with the list that we have down? Let's go down and I'll mark down
Yeah.
what you guys are thinking.
So far, he thought. Well, let's just start with one thing that we've already got right, or that we already answered. The ABV to me is 55-ish. What do you think if you had to put a number on it, Malt?
Yeah, I think this is 50%, if not a little bit more. 52.
52.
I'll just throw it out there.
Jay, you said what?
55. I think it's maybe a little higher, but not a whole lot. It's kind of tough.
Okay. Well,
being the first dram of the night too makes it kind of tricky because I haven't had any warm-up
drams. Did you do a warm-up dram?
I did not. That's why I'm kind of concerned.
A couple warm-ups.
I'm gonna lower my score actually because of that reason, because I'm probably tasting a little hotter than I usually would. So I'm gonna say, you said 52, Malt?
Yeah, I mean,
it's tough, man.
That menthol note that I got in the beginning. You know what? I'm gonna actually go higher. I'll say 54%.
I'll keep my 55 then. He's got 54. I'll take 55. We both think it's definitely ex-bourbon. He's saying that he thinks it's probably finished in a PX cask. I'm gonna go with 2 years or finished in a Oloroso cask, but after being with ex-bourbon for the longest time. That's my guess. I'm probably way off because Oloroso versus PX is a real tough one. But this does taste pretty dry, and if it's dried fruit,
but the dried fruit notes were much more of the apricot. I didn't get a lot of dried red fruits, which is I get a lot off sherry. So I'm gonna put PX.
All right. So we've got.
So Eric, what did you say about the barrel? What did you say? You said.
I think it's ex-bourbon and it's PX finished. It's probably if anything, I think this is probably 18 to 21 years old. It's a PX. It's ex-bourbon, maybe European oak and PX finish.
Okay, and
Highland whiskey for sure. It's a
Jason,
Highland.
what do you think on age?
Spice is good too. Age, man, to me that's the toughest thing on this one because it's got a nice kick to it. It's spicy, but does it taste like it's got the age? Oh man, I'm gonna say this one. I'm gonna keep around a 15. I'm just feeling 15.
Okay.
I'm probably way off, but
all right. Any distillery guesses? That's hard. It's tough to get distilleries, but
I mean, I think this is a Highland malt.
He's gonna go Highland on the region. I'm gonna go Speyside on the region on this one.
I would say if I'm going to get the distillery, Jesus, this is way out there. I can't think of anything super comparable. Whatever this is relatively unique, but I do feel like if I was going to guess, I'm going to say this is a single cask, 21-year-old Loch Lomond with a PX finish, and it's at 50-some%. So it's an indie bottling. Loch Lomond, 21 years old, PX finish, ex-bourbon, and maybe some European oak in it.
Okay.
I'm looking at some space-sized distilleries to see if what I feel like this could be. Man,
that's good. By the way,
it is good. I'm just trying to think of where
that red chocolate mocha thing. Man, it's got so assertive.
God, I've got some more. I'm still kind of trying to feel my way with this.
I love that. You're right about the chocolate note. It's definitely this cocoa powder.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's still sweet though. It's not. That super. Just dark chocolate bitter. There's no bitterness.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that the chocolate note for me isn't the sweet part. That's where I'm getting the fruitiness, the dark cherry, the cherry.
I get strawberries out the.
Strawberries. Yeah, the kind of I got a fruity yogurt
fruit
type
cake.
thing.
I get fruitcake too though.
Yeah, I'm game with that. I think I'm gonna just Loch Lomond, single cat, 21 years old, 54%.
Okay. Do you want to reveal at the end on everything? be probably the best thing to do, right? To reveal at the end. We can move on.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
that's fine. I'm just
Yeah. No. Go take your time.
I'm looking at
We got plenty of
I'm
time.
not. I'm debating on the space side versus Highland thing because I'm looking at the space side distilleries of what it could be, and nothing's like jumping out at me just yet that says, yeah, this is the one. But when you look at independent bottlings, it makes it more of a mixed bag because you never know what you're going to get. You don't really, if you get like an independent version of a Dalmore, you're not going to get anything like you do from the distillery.
Yeah. There's no way this is a Dalmore. I'm just gonna. It's a judgment call, and I'm making it.
Not unless he went crazy and got like the best independent bottle of for one. That's possible.
Well, I wouldn't put that past Stephen Connor. I'm gonna put number 2 in my glass and let it rest for a little bit while we continue to deliberate.
That's cool. I'm just looking at the region thing here and trying to. I wish they had it where if you clicked on it, it didn't go to the bottom. It just gave you like a nice little list of the ones that they had there. 1 second. Oh man. Okay, so I'm looking at like space sides. There's so many options. Benriach, possibly.
Yeah, that's a good guess.
Man, that's what makes it tough because like of all the profiles I'm getting, I thought Deanston at first, and I thought, well, no, it's there's something else about this that is leading me towards maybe the Benriach. So I might have to stick with space side and go Benriach on this maybe. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna lock it in with Benriach, I think, on this one.
Okay. Got it.
So we've got everything, I think, let's see. That is a good finish too. Spicy. That's why I'm thinking maybe because Benriachs have some good spice to them, and they do both the peated and non-peated. So I mean, it's definitely not far-fetched, I think. Being so spicy though, it almost wants me to say Kragelicky or something, but I don't think it's that spicy. It's almost there though. That's a really nice. Yeah.
Are you aligned on the ex bourbon, Telex? I mean, that's
completely.
First fill. I think it's so assertive. The more it went on, the more overpowering it was. It makes me feel like I'm on the fence, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking first fill ex bourbon, like you said. I think you were dead on the money with that. But at the end, it's where I'm kind of like thinking, well, maybe at least a couple of years in a Oloroso or some sort of sherry, cask at the end. It's really tough to get the PX versus Oloroso, but with all the earthiness, that's why I'm going Oloroso on this one. But it's a crapshoot, really.
There's something in it that I just can't quite, like you said mushroom earlier, which I think is what, when I picked it up after my putting water on it, is making me think of like Loch Lomond. But I mean, I have a hard time believing there's a Loch Lomond single cask out there, but I just feel like that's the closest I can get.
Now that you mention it, this very well could be. I don't think it is, but with that mushroom gravy kind of earthy note, I do get those off of the Brooklotties sometimes. If it's like but those are usually peated. So it's kind of, or the Black Arts has got that mushroom gravy kind of feel, and it's all fruit. But this is definitely not as like dark, or I don't even think it's as old as a Black Arts. But it kind of reminds me of that a little bit. But I'm not going to go down that road. I'll just get myself in trouble.
Have you seen the second one?
I have. I poured all of them and let them sit for a bit. So
yeah, I'll pour the third one too in another glass and get it ready. But holy Christ, the second one, the color.
That is a beautiful color. That is wow.
Unbelievable color. Just for the folks watching, man. I mean, just take a look at this. Is sample number 2. I have never seen, like, the only color I've ever seen like this is Dalmore, and that's because they've put so much in it. But I mean the nose on this is, oh my god, it's incredible. Definitely I mean, this is very, it's Christmas cake. There's some spice. There's some allspice, nutmeg, juicy, like dark fruits. Again, dry dark fruits. I'm thinking this is an older whiskey too.
I can tell you this one, and this is not giving anything away, but this one, you can smell this at different angles and pick up so many different things.
It's amazing.
As it opens up, especially after it sits a while. I mean, there is so much going on in the nose. I love the nose on this.
Yeah, this even has like with the really nice chocolate notes. It's got some really nice like herbal stuff going on too, like basil and some like mint and things. Wow,
Sweet,
really sweet. Yeah,
really sweet. It's almost as if, you know, like when you've had cherry cough syrup, and you can tell when you smell it that it's artificial. It's like, imagine if you smelled a cherry cough syrup that wasn't artificial. That's what this is like. It's like a natural.
I'm also getting like some really deep, dark, fudgy notes too. Like really, like I mean, it's amazing how like on the dark scale of fudgy smells, this one's like a molasses kind of smell to me.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's got like a thickness to just the smell alone. In a good way. It's like,
yeah, this is full on sherry maturation. Oh my God, that nose is amazing. And the color too. I mean, I don't know if this is real color or not, but like this is.
If Steven sent it, I think it's real.
It's very dessert like.
You know me, Telex. You know me, man. Yeah.
Very confectionery.
No, there's no E150. If there is some, it's very little bit at EMI. Maybe some of the Lefroy's, some of the, possibly some of the Diageo products, but it's not.
It's like marshmallow, dark cherry, like cherry cordial, like those chocolate cherry things.
Yeah, I was getting a lot of deep, like black currants and black cherries in the nose on this one.
Yeah, no doubt on the black currant. This is full on cherry. It's interestingly like juicy and dried fruit. That nose is. Oh wait.
Yeah, I like the nose on this one a bit better than the first. Even though I still enjoyed the first one, I like this one even more because I mean it's got a lot going on.
Man, it's red grape and white grape, like those juicy red, crisp red grapes, cherry, maybe even raspberry. So much fruit notes, and then there's like a nice kind of like light vanilla, like creaminess to it, like that's kind of rounding all of those potentially kind of tart edges off.
Oh wow, it just changed. Now it's crazy. I swear, I was nosing it, and I was getting the same kind of thing I was getting for a while, and all of a sudden, then I started getting this wave of oranges. All of a sudden, it's crazy. I don't know why, but it just like changed dramatically, and I didn't add anything to it. I just
You know what? This is really starting to smell like you've walked into a high quality ice cream shop. It's sweet. It's creamy. There's just intense red fruit and dark fruit notes, and maybe a little bit of a cinnamon spice in the background, almost like clove and cinnamon, like if you were making a mulled wine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mulled wine, like you got some.
That's a good pickup, Eric. That's.
You got some cloves and cinnamon sticks in like a hot red wine. That I'm getting that big time now, which is very like Christmassy, autumnal, or whatever.
Yeah, this is either a red wine cask or a port cask. It seems like to me, it's definitely on the heavier end. I don't think it's just full-fledged. I mean, I do think there's sherry there, of course, but I think there's also maybe something else going on, or it's extremely old. It could be just the age might be up there too.
Oh wow! It's really delicate but oily on the mouthfeel.
Oh man, that's good. Wow.
Delicate and oily, sweet red fruit. It develops into a drying spiciness, lots of red fruit, vanilla, caramel. Like
dude, I just had a fit. It's that good, man. This is like this. I could just tell by tasting it. This has got to be at least 18 years, if not like 20 something. This shit is awesome.
Now go back and smell it again, because now the nose. I mean, it's already started to change. When I had my first.
Oh my god, man! What the hell did you pour? This is one of the best scotches I think I've had in a long time. This one in particular, for some reason.
There's no doubt. I mean, this is not. There's no bourbon in it. I
would be surprised.
It's very slight.
This has got like sherry / either red wine or port like all over it. It's crazy.
Sort of interesting. Medium finish. Like the finish isn't super.
This is like reminds me of the Lefroy Carriages 2013, dude. It's that good. I mean, it's that fucking good. I'm surprised, but it's not peated. No, this doesn't have any peat in it, does it? Does it? At all. And I'll say I don't think it had any peat in it.
I don't taste any peat in this.
It tastes like that quality of port cask, though. That's what I'm comparing it to. The fruit level,
like port, though, like aged port.
Yeah, like when I was trying to tell you, like when we were having the Carriages 2020, and I was like, something's missing. This is exactly what I was hoping it would have tasted like with the peat. That's where you get the Carriages 2013 with peat added to it. But without that, it's like, what is it? This is a good one, Steven.
Yeah, this one's really beguiling, man. There's a nice cool mint at the end of the finish.
Yeah,
it's really like cooling down the mouthfeel, which is
the long lasting. Yeah, but you're right.
Yeah, it's really nice. The thing that's really most striking about this for me is it's not cloying. Like it's not that like sickly sweet cloyingness. It's like
that's like a Concord grape. To me, it's got like a really rich purple Concord grape in it.
That's a great thing. I meant to hear it big time.
Super sweet. I like sweet, but I like for it to be balanced. And for other things, I like sweet. I like spicy. As you can tell, I like spiciness I like European oak. But I'm not saying that's what this is. But
this has got some really nice florals on the nose now.
No, it's got so many things going on. It's a very complex whiskey.
This one's definitely got florals now on the nose.
It does. You're right. See, that's what I'm saying. You go back to it, and you can, if you smell around the edges. I mean, there's just so many things going around with this thing.
Wow. I don't know if it's as high ABV as that first one. It's like iffy. There's so much flavor. I'm wondering if it helps it not taste as hot, maybe. Even though it is maybe still similar ABV, it's like, wow.
It's not hot at all. The only hot I get is like cinnamon red hots, but they're like, again, they're rounded off. And there's this marshmallow kind of this is what's weird. In a way, the like red cherry marshmallow note reminds me of wild turkey, but it's not bourbon because I don't think there's corn in this.
Yeah, to me, this reminds me of a really good old Japanese whiskey. That's like if you had like a really dark hibiki or like a dark Nika, one of those special deals. Oh man. Because all the marshmallow and light fruit flavors are like reminiscent of a Japanese whiskey, but it feels more like a Glenfarclas or a Glendronach or like a.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I think this is a Glendronach for sure, especially knowing Steven. If I'm gonna guess, this is like a 26 to 27-year-old Glendronach sherry PX, probably like 48%. I don't know, 51% max.
He also goes outside and does some like Ben Nevises and Wortlocks and whatnot too. So you got to keep that in mind because even though it does remind me of a really good Glendronach, I don't know, man. He's thrown us like loops with like Glenfarclases and like family casks kind of stuff. And those guys are really good once you get to
the confectionery. Like I'm telling you, this is like you've walked into a high-end creamery ice cream shop that's got some like cherry ice cream going on, and it's just that smell in the air. I
think this is PX actually.
This can't be over 52%, and if it is, it's just a testament to the cask.
Yeah, I'm thinking this is like
port though. I think you mentioned port earlier. I think you're right. I think this is probably like tawny port PX.
Yeah, I'm thinking definitely like a PX
Red
versus.
wine, maybe.
Trying to think of ABV. I think I'm on the age. I'm gonna say like I was torn between 18 and 20. I think I might go 20 on this one. That's
Are
how
you guys
great.
ready already? Are you already ready?
Well, I'm just kind of starting with some of these things to see if if I have any like heavy feeling. The only thing so far I have a heavy feeling on is I think it has a little more age in the first one, so I'm gonna go 20 years on this one.
Okay.
I think this is probably. I mean, there's no way that this is less than 18. I'm gonna guess this is probably 19. No, actually, you know what? Let's go up 22.
Oh wow! Okay.
That finish holds on for so long. That
It
nice cooling mint. It's like nice cooling mint chocolate chip ice cream. This is a confectionery drink, man. A lot of sweet. A lot of the spice is there, but it's like accenting, and then that nice cooling mint on the finish.
I don't know. The first one and this one on the maybe this is Oloroso instead of PX. I'm torn between the cast type on this one, or it does taste like a port though too. It's really crazy.
I think you're right on that.
Okay, so how about ABV? Let's go. Let's try that.
I can't imagine if this is 52, 53%. If it's higher, it's really just quality because this is masking the ABV so well. I'll go 53.
Okay.
It's got a bit of a bite though, man. I'm gonna say 57 on this one.
If I had to guess the distillery, I mean, I honestly, and maybe this is motivated reasoning, but I have to guess this is a Glendronach. This is some type of Glendronach. I mean, but the thing is it's not like Glendronach. It's sweeter. Is it?
Maybe
it's not a Parliament. This is not a Parliament because Parliament's 40. This is higher than 46.
This is got to be
I'm not going to send you guys a Parliament, okay?
I wouldn't think you would. I think this has got to be like
no offense to Parliament. I love their core rhymes, but I'm going to send you, for a special tasting. I'm going to,
Man, what is that? You said Japanese whiskey. What's the Taiwanese one? Maybe it's that?
A Cavalon. It could be a Cavalon, like one of those.
I've only had a bourbon cask Cavalon, but there's something about the lightness of the body of this, despite it being so oily, that is making me second guess that it's Scotch.
You think it might be like a Cavalon Vino Barrique kind of thing? Soloist, I think it's called.
Possibly, but I don't know. I can't say for sure. I think it's probably still Glendronach.
It does taste like that. It does remind me a lot of that because I did have one of those. It's been many years ago, but it kind of reminds me of that. But I don't know.
This is definitely a Glendronach. This has got to be a Glendronach. Or, honestly, you said it earlier, maybe a fucking Dalmore.
That'd be funny if he found a 30-year-old Dalmore to just wow us to death with. Oh, man.
I'll give you my final guess. I think this is a probably 22-year-old Glendronach. This has to be, again, another single cask. Port, there's a Port PX. It's 53 at the most, 54%. That's the best I can do.
Yeah, I think it is Port. I'm torn between Oloroso and PX, and it's tough because the sweetness is there for PX, but it does have some really nice old dried fruit that I'll get off in Oloroso too. But that
keeps making me think it's got an age.
Might be the Port.
I don't think it's Japanese. It doesn't have. It's too heavy for a Japanese whiskey. I'm not heavy aged Japanese whiskeys.
No, I was just saying that because you said the marshmallow profile with the light, the really good heavy fruit. And that is what you usually get like off of a Japanese. But yeah, you're right. It's definitely too too in your face to be a.
All right, so Telex, what's the distillery? At least take a guess.
I'm really torn on this one. It doesn't have any sulfuric stuff, so I'm going to stay away from Ben Nevis and Macallan. It does remind me of a Glendronach. It's possible that he's right. And Glenfarclas usually has a little sulfuric tone to it. This doesn't have any sulfuric stuff for me.
Family casks from Glenfarclas, though.
Yeah, because he had one of those, and I thought it was a Glendronach because it did have a little bit of that sulfury funkiness going on. So I wasn't like torn for a loop when he said it was a Glenfarclas, but with this one, I'm even thinking maybe even like a really old Deanston, but I don't know, man. It's tough because the only distillery I could think of that does really well with like PX Oloroso. I don't know if they've ever had a port by Deanston, but if they did one, at that age, it would probably taste like this. That's why I'm thinking I might say Deanston of all things. I know it's out of the kind of not their typical.
Yeah. I don't feel confident on the Glendronach, but I feel like I don't know what else to compare this to.
No, I think you're right. If it's not, I'm just trying to think if it's not a Glendronach, what would be the next like possible
like sandalwood note? There's that sandalwood thing that's coming through, like, which is weird. But
and that's where you get the Ben Nevis, that type of funkiness might be from that too. A Mortlock is a little savory, it's not sweet.
Yeah, this is not a Mortlock. I can't imagine a Mortlock.
Do you remember having a Deanston PX at some point? Have you ever had one of those?
Yeah.
Did it have any characteristics of that at all that you can remember, or was it completely different?
No, it's right there, man. I'm honestly fucking confused on this one. It's amazingly good. So I'm
probably overthinking it. I think you're right with Glendronach, but as a second guess,
I think it's some type of single cask. Maybe it's a distillery bottling Glendronach. This is 22 years old. I mean, this is aged for sure. It's Oloroso and PX.
Watch it be some sort of weird Glengarry from like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a Glengarry.
On your tail for a minute with that Japanese style or like some type of like Amroot or what was the other one, Cavalan, but like
Here's a question for you, Stephen, and I don't mind you answering this one. Are these all like single malt scotches, or are there other countries involved besides Scotland here? And you could say that.
Why should I say that? So I'm going to keep it.
Okay.
I mean, we're already into it, right? So why?
Well, I should have asked up front because that if it's world whiskey, that really like is going to be really tough to.
All I can say is they're all malt whiskeys.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
I think you might have known something.
I'm good on my guess. This is a 20 to 22-year-old Glendronach. It's probably a single cask, 54% at the max. It is probably Oloroso, Port and PX, and amazing.
Since I'm not getting the Deanston vibe really, I'm going to go back and I think I'm going to say, I think it's a Cavalan, but I don't think it's a Vino Barrique Solstice. I think it's like a different kind of one. It's really good, damn good. But I just can't. I don't know if I've had this before. I think I would have remembered.
All right. Oh, tell us. You said 20 years old.
That's what's frustrating. Is like it's so complex. Let me do something real fast and see if I can see something that might give me a little, not like I'm not cheating or anything. I'm just looking to see what the age is on something.
Make sure your last one is poured and letting it air. So
it is.
Okay.
I'm just kind of looking at what is the age on this thing.
It's hard to tell. I just think with that, like the way the finish is on that, I'm guessing it's 20. I mean, maybe 18. I don't know. the finish is just so nice and long, and like the dried fruit notes. Again, the dried fruit notes that I got off this make me think this has to be a relatively decently aged whiskey. But I don't know. I'm guessing as good as anybody else.
Yeah, I think maybe it is, because if it's 100% wine or X wine, I'm sorry, and if it's 59.2, which seems a little hot for this, but it could be. It's an NAS though, and that's where I'm kind of like, if it's an NAS, we can't tell the age. I don't think he's going to give us an NAS. I don't think that's what it is.
I wouldn't think so either.
I'm trying to think of what have they released that has any age. I don't know if Kavalan does any aged releases. Do they? Maybe like
I do know Cadillac. They do. You know what? Honestly, all of them, if you know where to look on the bottle, they're all aged. You can. I think even the premium ones, I can figure out the date.
Okay.
Yeah, figure out the date of this. They're all aged. Yeah. I'm just looking at a generic one here.
This one might be higher in ABV than I'm thinking.
Yeah, this was like 7 years old. So
what about maybe an Edgerdour?
That's possible, but I'm going to say this is 59%. I'm going to say 59%. But man, I think it's a Kavalan, but I just don't know what the damn age on it is. It seems like it's older, but if it's just a really nice cask with high ABV, that could explain all the complexities we're getting from it at the same time. So
they put some water on it. I bet you probably still have more complexity from the ABV now.
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering if I should like change it. Man, this is such a. I'm gonna go ahead and I hate to do this. I'm probably way off, but I'm gonna say the Kavalan, the what is that? The Pinot Barrique, the single cask strength at 59.2 NAS. Probably way off.
59.2.
I think it's 59.2.
Okay, gotcha.
59.2.
I did look up that one because I wanted to know what the ABV on it was. So if I could,
they're all different. So they're all single cask. They're all single, so you could
I'll just say 59 then,
I'll tell you, they prove it down. This is just my knowledge of Kavalan, but they prove it down below. I think the highest they go now is 58.6 maybe.
Okay.
Because they might go a little higher, but they dropped it below 60 due to the shipping. So you had to drop. There is some old ones that are 60% ABV.
Wow.
But then they also now stay in the range of between 57, 56 to 58 something. They're all in that range. They're not anything really low or really high above that. So
I'll keep it to 58 then. 58's a good, nice round number. 58.
Okay.
Yeah. 58. And if they do all have ages, I guess I'll take it down a bit. I'm trying to decide on how far down to take it. I think it's at least 12, but I'm leaning towards 15. But I'm going to say 12 years on this one then.
Okay.
I do think it tastes older than that, but if this is one of those where it's just a really, really nice X wine cask with a higher ABV, that explains maybe the thing. But I guess the region would be was it Taiwan or India for Kavalan?
Kavalan is Taiwan.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. We'll say Taiwan for the region on this one, which I'm sure I'm way off. But I'm just trying to get an idea of it out there. Cask type X wine. I think it's like an X wine type of cask.
All right, number 3.
Yeah. They're both really, really good, Stephen. Like surprising how good they are.
Yeah, they've both been really, really good. This is number 3 in the glass. Much lighter than the last one.
Ooh, yeah, but still nice color.
Okay.
I'm gonna have a little sip of water on the side so I don't get all mixed up here.
Yeah, good call. This one's got peat for sure.
Ooh.
And it's clean peat. It's sharp peat, peppery. Man, I immediately think, what this immediately reminds me of? Talisker Distillers Edition.
Oh, wow.
I know this isn't that because he wouldn't pour us that. But that's exactly what's happening here. I could, yeah.
That is nice.
Bourbon for sure. There's like nice like caramel. There's some toffee.
There's some spice even on the nose though too.
Oh yeah, totally. It's prickling. This is high ABV.
It's definitely. I'm already getting like a brisket barbecue on the nose. Nice, like hammy, pulled pork and ham.
Whoa. Really nice. Again, I'm getting another mint menthol kind of like overcoat. It's a sharp, very like seashore briny peat, salty.
Yeah, this is definitely. At first I thought, well, maybe Kalila, and then I thought, no, it's not vegetal enough to be Kalila. That can't be it. And then I thought, well,
it's not a lot of citrus either.
It's got like it does have an islands kind of profile to it
for sure, but not Highland Park.
No, not Highland Park.
Now this is.
I think you might have nailed it with a Talisker. Maybe.
I feel like it's Talisker just because, man, I feel like I noticed that. I mean, and then maybe that's a testament to its consistency on the. It could be is maybe a Kilchoman.
I want you to think about some. No, I don't think this is Kilchoman. Think about Oban. Does Oban have this profile at all?
It's not this speedy. There's no Oban that's this speedy.
I guess maybe the peak.
Caramel. This is ex-bourbon. This is
the peak type could be Kilchoman. Now I think of it. Hold on.
I feel like it could be I think like a Mocker Bay cast strength, but
this doesn't seem like Kilchoman's usually a little more poppier. This is a nice nose, but it seems a little more like it's more refined a little bit than a Kilchoman would be. Like it might be aged a little bit more, but I don't know about how far it would be.
This one you definitely want to save some for just a few drops of water. You don't want to put a lot on it. You want to, but for the nose and everything, just kind of
This taste is like coffee, chocolate, light caramel, vanilla, a little bit of almond.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of marzipan even on the nose.
Sharp pepper spice with a very like minty cooling after, like right after it. This is Talisker. No, well, it's Talisker or Kilchoman. That's what I'm guessing.
Ooh. The palate's more stronger than I thought it was going to be. That's for sure. In a good way. Wow. Okay. Ooh, wow. That finish is surprisingly good.
There's a little bit of a juiciness to it in the finish too.
Huh. I don't think I've had this one before.
Is this ramping up? Kind of ramps up, doesn't it, toward the finish, right?
Salty, yeah, big time. Salty.
Yeah, that's wow. That's a very long finish comparatively to the others.
It's explosive. It's a big dram, and if you put a little bit of water on it, it's going to open up fruits and some vanilla. But you don't have to put it yet. Enjoy it a little bit.
Yeah.
Neat.
Wow, I'm surprised that how good this is, and that the fact that I haven't had it, and it's a good high ABV peated dram.
The second taste is bourbon notes, that like caramel, just spicy mouth coat is big time on this. Man,
what does it taste like?
I mean, it might be a Lagavulin.
No, I know it sounds crazy, but I'm actually thinking maybe it's a Campbelltown malt.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's got that like leathery. It's got this like leathery finish to it that goes on for ages. It's not a Springbank, but I'm thinking I wonder if it's a Glen Scotia maybe.
I don't know. The peat level is too high for me on that. I think this is either a Kilchoman or a Talisker, and I'm going to actually.
I think you're right that if it is in the islands, it's definitely a Talisker. If it's in Isla, I am leaning towards either Kilchoman.
Is this a Talisker 30?
or maybe the
No, it wouldn't be a 30.
no, it's too strong. Yeah, too strong to be that high of an age, I
Is
would
there
think.
a Talisker 21?
There's a 25-year-old Talisker. I'm not sure about 21 though, but they have the 18, and I think they go straight to 25 and then 30. I don't think they've got a 21-year-old, but don't quote me on it. I don't know if it's that old though. It's complex.
You said Kalila earlier.
No, it doesn't have any vegetal notes in it to be Kalila, I don't think. I mean, it could be, but I get more. This one tastes and smells like a Kilhoman to me because it's got that really nice.
Oh, you're coming around on the Kilhoman. But it's too aged. I mean, like it's too. That finish is so long. Have you ever had it finish this long on a Kilhoman?
No, and that's why I don't. Even though it tastes like a Kilhoman, all I'm saying is it tastes like one, but the other profiles, like especially the finish, it makes me think it's like something completely off the wall, like a Glen Scotia that's peated, or like some sort of maybe even like Kilkerran usually does like sherry stuff. They don't do a whole lot of straightforward bourbon stuff, but if they were going to do one like that, this might be something they would come up with. But it's. I've only had a really
the Monterey Bay cast strength, which is 100% bourbon, and I can tell you, none of them have a finish like this.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. If it is a Kilhoman, it's very specialized, like a small batch, country vendor.
Yeah.
If it's like a regular bottle that you can get, I'd be surprised because I could have sworn I would have remembered this taste if I've had it before.
Yeah, I've never had this one.
Put a few drops of water on it, guys, and see what you
right.
Let it sit, give it a little time.
Let me see.
All right.
I'm gonna so good, man.
I'll be right back.
All right, man. This is so good, Steven. This one could be. I think he might be onto something with the Talisker. The more I'm tasting it, because like even though it reminds me of a Kilhoman, it does have the overall profile more like a Talisker would, with the brine, the peat. It's been a long time since I've had a really good Talisker though, but if I remember, this is kind of what you would get off of. If I envision like the Talisker, the 15 cast strength, for example, this is what I would envision it tasting like. I never had it before.
The 15's nothing like this.
Is it? Oh wow, okay.
I mean, I'm going to, and I'll tell you, and I know because I'm going to tell I told the chat, and well, I'll wait till Eric gets back.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't want you to. I mean, I'm going to give you. I'm not going to give you a hint, but I'm going to be clear about one thing. Okay, so you remember, I'm Eric. I want to tell everybody. I already told the chat. Remember, I told you I was going to send you a cast ring 25. I did. This is not. There's not one in here. So that's just all I'm going to say. Now,
okay.
I don't want you. But this. There you go. So.
Because if I was thinking it was going to be something, I thought, man, he's right. It does really taste like a Talisker too. It's really tough.
There's a lot of apple happening here, man.
Yeah,
water?
With a little water. Yeah, fruits. Yeah, that's right. The fruits pop up.
Granny Smith apple, like that sharp, tart apple.
I hope this is easy.
This is what I'm saying. The sharpness of this has got me thinking Talisker, because like I just don't notice a peat smoke that's so salient and sharp like this in anything else.
Whatever this is, Steven, I hope it's really easy to get, because I got to have a bottle of this. That's how good this is.
I mean, maybe a lot. I mean, what do you like? You said Kilhoman.
I think you nailed it with the Talisker, the Kilhoman.
Smell the nose now too. If you put a little drop, just like I'm talking like 3 drops of water. It doesn't take much if you're.
Yeah.
I did a half teaspoon. Oh, that's so good.
It's like candied apple, like red candied
apple.
How's the my apple note exploded with water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'll be honest with you. Like,
wow.
There's little doubt in my mind that this is a Talisker.
Mm.
It has to be. There's no like that sharp. It's
that spiciness too. Yeah.
And the sharpness.
And the brininess level, the sharpness, the maritime notes. It definitely screams Talisker, but man, what is it? I've had the niche point before, and I've had some other higher ABV stuff, but Maybe it's like an
I mean,
older.
does that little bit of water that just opens it up? Boom.
Yeah, no, no doubt, Stephen. Like the apple notes that I'm getting off this now, like the juicy cider apple, Granny Smith apple thing, it wasn't there before water.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'll put it to you this way, man. Like this has to be an Isla Scotch. The only other whiskey that I can think this could possibly be would be an Aaron, but I don't. That's outside my knowledge base.
Yeah, me too. I never had a Macklemore to compare it to.
Talisker. Yeah, but if I'm thinking about what this could be on Isla, this is not an Ardbeg. This is not a Lefroy. This is not a Peabobbin. It might be a Kilhoman, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna go. This is Talisker. I'm gonna guess. And you think it's not 25 years old, Stephen? Like, which is. I mean, I don't know. What is this like? I'm going to guess this is a Talisker 30.
Here's a question for you. If it wasn't a Talisker and if it wasn't a Kilhoman, what do you think it would be? I'm wondering, like, Lagavulin possible, because Lagavulin does have that. It has this kind of profile to it, but I've never had a Lagavulin at this level. This is like. No, I've had the 18, and the 18 is good, but I haven't had like a 21 or a 25. I don't know if it's that old though. It's like seems like a higher ABV to me. What do you think of the ABV is, Malt? I'm thinking it's closer to 60 on this one, but
I don't know if it's 60, but I think it's probably 56. So this is some type of like. But that's the thing. If this is a Talisker 30.
Oh, it's so good.
He said it wasn't a 20. There's not a 25-year-old in it. I don't know. It's so sharp and like that. The peat is unmistakably Talisker, but it's so aggressive that like I'm hesitant to say it's 30.
Yeah, because it unless he's got like a single cast strength 30-year-old, which they might sell them like that, but it seems like it would be really rare. But I don't really. But if he was going to send something, that is something that he would send. So there you go. Oh man, Talisker, not 25 cast strength, but something like it.
Yeah, this is Talisker. Like I'm gonna say, this has got to be some type of. It's up. All right, Stephen. It's ex-bourbon. I don't think.
Let me write this down. Okay, ex-bourbon.
I don't think there's any I don't think there's any sherry in this. This is all ex-bourbon. Okay. I think this is Talisker. I think it's probably 56 to 57%, and it's probably.
So 150. What? What's your guess?
We'll say 57.
Okay.
And age is tough. I mean, this is not the 18. I've never had the 25. You said it wasn't a 25. I feel like the 30 wouldn't be so aggressive.
It's not. All I said. Let me tell you. I'm going to roll back. I'm not saying what's. This is the attorney in me. Okay, so I apologize. All I said, it wasn't the cast strength 25 that I was going to send you. Any of the 25.
Okay, well then.
But it doesn't mean that it's the new 25 or any 40. 45 point whatever percent.
No, it's higher ABV than that. I think it's got to be higher ABV than that. I think it's I don't know, man. If it's not 25, let's say it's 24. It's some type of 24-year-old cast strength Talisker. 57%. Maybe a single cast. Maybe it's our independent bottling of some sort, but this is unmistakable.
Wow, man, this is different. I agree with them on some of it. I'm gonna go a different route just in case it's off, because I do agree, man. If it's not a Talisker, I'll be surprised. My guess, I'm gonna go with Campbelltown. I'm going to go with like a 12-year, but I'm going to go with like 60% ABV.
Campbelltown, so you going Springbank?
No, I think I'll get there in a second. I'm thinking Campbelltown.
What? I'm sorry. I was answering the chat. Eric, what did you say age-wise? I'll give you one more chance to pick.
I think he froze.
Oh no!
Well, he's reconnecting. We'll wait for him to come back here in a second.
Okay, all right, we'll go with you, Telex. What did you say?
I'm thinking this is going to be regional. I mean, I do agree with him. I think Talisker is probably what it is, but if I don't go that route, I'll go Campbelltown. I'll go with 12 years of age. I'll go with close to, I'm going to say 60 ABV because I do think it's on the hotter end. I do think it's completely ex-bourbon cask.
Sorry about that, my computer.
No, it's okay.
Oh, no problem.
Ex-bourbon.
Yeah. Hey, Eric, what age did you say for this one?
I think I said like 20, 24.
Right.
Yeah, Talisker, it's 57% ABV, 20. I don't know.
What do y'all think with the water on it, Telex? What did you think? What were you getting? Did you say a lot of notes on it?
I think it's really good. For the distillery, I'm going to say Glen Scotia on this one, just to be different, because I do agree. Like, if I wasn't going to say Glen Scotia, I would say Talisker is my second guess on this one.
Yeah, my second guess would be Kilhoman, but no, my second guess would be Lagavulin.
It does. It did open up a lot when you're right on putting the water. I'm going to do it one more time.
Yeah, the apple note really opened up on that. I didn't get the apple notes the way I did without water.
It's amazing how it is good. I'm just wondering what makes the higher ABVs tough is what's the age, and that's where I get thrown off. It's the age part of this because sometimes
the nose now with a few drops of water on it. So I mean, the nose is.
Oh wow!
It's amazing, man. It's like a apple orchard, perfect for the season.
I get a lot of spices too, even.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're getting like a little bit of maybe really dry ashiness, kind of just like very not like I'm not talking about like some of the other
like a beach bonfire, like on the beach though, like with a lot of spray. Like I'm on the side of the beach. It's dusk. It's getting dark, and there's this breeze going on. And if there was someone with a little campfire on the beach, this is what it would smell like.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got some really nice. What is that? The what are those candies that they're not like brownies, like blonde? Have you ever had like a blonde brownie before?
Mm-mm.
They're called blondies. They're like brownies, but they're like the vanilla, more toffee, vanilla, butterscotch kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's getting, like I said, this one just keeps opening up. This was changing too a lot as it sits. So.
What do you think then, Telex? Like a Glen Scotia, like 21 or?
No, I think I'm going to go with just a 12-year, but like a really good, strong 60% ABV, first fill ex-bourbon, punchy, in your face. I don't know, man. I'm probably way off, but.
Are we all right? So.
Oh man, it's so good.
Yeah, that was.
You guys ready? Here we go. Is everybody ready?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
All right.
I'm gonna turn my chat back on.
Oh yeah, I probably should go ahead and flip it.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah, sorry.
So first one. All right, so this is what you guys thought on the first one. So Telex, you thought 15 years of age. Eric, 18 to 21. ABV 55, 54, so close. You guys thought about really close to the same for ABV. On barrel finish or barreled or aging, what was done. Ex-bourbon, predominantly ex-bourbon, and Telex said finished Olorosa, and Eric said finished PX and European oak. I noticed he said that. So the first one.
What was the distilleries we said they were?
Oh, distillery. Sorry, Ben Riach, and you said Loch Lomond, Highland. So, and the first one is a Ben Nevis 20-year-old.
Oh,
single cask nation.
Nice.
This is a give you kind of little information on this one. This was a 20-year-old released in 2017. It was bottled in January 2017, bottled in 1996. ABV 55.6. So Telex, very good job.
Yeah.
But in non-chill filter, non-natural color. What you guys did get wrong, though, this is a Oloroso sherry only.
Oh.
Wow.
And I'm surprised. I'll be honest with you. This is a refill cask Oloroso, but I am very surprised because I consider this a very sherried refill bottle.
Well done, Alex. You got that.
I don't get any, but this is the beauty of blind tasting, what you guys think. And plus, it's interesting. You guys play off each other a lot because that's what happens when you're.
It was really good. And now when I came back to like the last sip of it, I am getting just. I mean, it's very. I didn't detect any sulfuric stuff going on in the beginning at all, but now there is this slight Venetia sulfuric note to it that I'm like, damn.
Telex.
I don't like sulfur, but this one has. It's nice because it's so light.
It's a touch.
Just a touch. And my kind of some here's just kind of things on the nose. Fruitcake, brown sugar, citrus peels, which I think you said, Eric. I think you mentioned something about citrus and the peel, citrus peel, strawberry, toffee, caramel, things like that. Palate. I think this is off of someone that I reviewed, but it does make sense. Sticky ball of sherry. We're holding some roasted nuts on the palate. Fruitcake and brown sugar. Brown sugar I do get. Cinnamon oil, which I think is correct. Cinnamon on it. Definitely the cocoa, the toffee, caramel. Finish is long, which I love. I love a long finish.
It is a good one.
You know, the sherry, the cinnamon, the brown sugar, cocoa. It's definitely evolves. I mean, I think it's a fantastic. This was my best value, and I love the whiskey, but it was one of my best values of 2018 when I bought it because I got it. I had some friends and our buddy up in Chicago, and we're able to get some at a ridiculously good price, like $130, $140.
Wow!
I mean, it was incredible.
What do they run now?
What was the age on that versus our age guesses?
Okay, it was 20 years old. So you were. Eric, you're the winner right there for that. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I thought it was 15.
Yeah, 15. So I love this bottle. I think for the quality you're getting, especially for the price, it was an incredible bottle.
The price you said was around $130. What does it run now? Like if I try to get that bottle now, what would it run me?
I am over every two. It's a sought after bottle.
Like $250? Could I get it?
Oh yeah, you could. I think you could easily get it for $250.
$250.
People are selling it. It's just
that's a good buy.
It's one. I mean, the problem is, it's one of 321 bottles, so it's not a huge, amount of them.
One of 321, you said?
Yeah.
The in Single Cask Nation, is that the actual independent bottler, or who's the runner?
That's the independent bottler. It's a U.S. base, which I think they do a great job. I've got a lot of their bottles. And
they're always pretty good about the stuff.
Yeah, no, they some are, I've never had a terrible one.
I
must take notes for if I want to get an independent bottle in the future. What should I look out for, kind of thing?
I think Single Cask Nation is definitely one to look for. If the distillery and the notes are something you're interested in, I think it's definitely a pretty safe bet.
Guys, if you can find this bottle, I think it's worth it. At $250, it seems like it's right at that threshold where I might not go that high. But if I found it for $200 or less, I would jump all over that bottle. I thought it was. Would you buy it again for? Would you buy that first one again for $200, Stephen? If you found it,
I have a bunch of these, so I did buy one for a little over $200, or right around $200.
There you go.
And did that, so I do think it's worth that. And I can tell you, they also did, and this might be the same. I think this is the exact same out when they put out the 20. They did also put out an 8-year-old, which is one of the best 8-year-olds I've ever had.
Oh, nice!
It's the first fill sherry. That's incredible. And this is 60. This is a beast. 64.8%, which I don't think I've ever I don't know if I ever had a Scotch. Well, maybe I had a couple of Scotches that are a little higher, but this is 64.8%.
Ooh, 64.8.
Yeah.
I don't think I think my limit was like 61%, somewhere
I'm
around there.
amazed there was no bourbon in that. I was convinced there was bourbon in that. That was fun.
Yeah.
That
No,
was a good one. I had the age, but yeah. I thought there was bourbon for sure.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really interesting.
No, I that's a good one. And then, all right. So the second one, let's see. Telex 12. You said 12. Eric said 22. ABV 58. Eric said 53. You said wine cask, Telex, and then you said port and PX, or port. I guess maybe port.
Well, after looking at and settling on Cavalan and Taiwan, then I thought just straightforward X wine cask. I thought,
yeah, and Cavalan. And you said GlenDronach. So the second one.
the big reveal.
Oh,
nailed it! Yes.
Well done.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
And yeah, this is one of the. I've got a bunch of these different single casks. They're all different. They all taste different. I mean, they're all similar characteristics, but just like bourbon or anything else, single cask can be good, bad, or great. And
that's a great one, man.
A fantastic one. I've got a few extra ones of this same single cask. I found them, and I'll give you some
Well done, Telex.
information on this one.
I got lucky on that one because I remember I think you might have been the one that mentioned like it could be a Taiwanese whiskey. When you said that, it triggered a memory of, oh shit, I had this at an expo. I was lucky enough to have the Vino Brique Solstice at an expo once, but it was like 3 or 4 years ago.
There was something about it that I couldn't quite nail. Yeah, that good. Well done.
Yeah, this is non-chill filtered, natural color. It's one of 208 bottles. Cask. This is
wow, only 208. Jeez.
Yeah, this is from 2018. But at the age, this is what's going to surprise you guys. And you can tell by the stamp here and how it tells you kind of the code. It is 4 years and 7 months old and change.
4 years, 7 months old. That's it.
Yep.
Holy shit!
This Cavalan.
You were way off.
To me,
I said 12. I said 12.
Yeah, you were much closer.
Cavalan works the best to me younger. And when you get in the 8 to 9 year olds, a lot of times I've had them. They've been people like that because they think age is great and they want to be older. But it's a lot of times it's over oaked. It's over cask influence.
Yeah.
Don't you get that with bourbon too? If you're looking at bourbons, don't they get over oaked and stuff?
Generally, this general statements, but yeah, I it's I've had I had a 30-year-old bourbon a few weeks ago that was incredible.
Okay.
So, I mean, it all depends on it. There's unicorns out there, but I mean, this is a fantastic bottle. All my friends who I've given this to loves it.
It's really good.
That was a real stunner, man. Thank you.
Have you had that before, Eric? Have you ever had a
No, I have not.
So it's American oak wine barrels, wine toasted, and then they recharge. So a lot of that spice you get is from the toasted and recharge.
Dead on this one, then.
These usually run around 300 to 400, don't they, Steven?
No, you can get them. It depends. In the States, they're a little over 200, 220, 230, maybe two. They've gone down a little bit. I think if you know where to get them, you can get them sub 200.
Awesome. I didn't know they could get them that great because I think when they were first released, they were at least charging like 3 or 4 or something crazy for some of them.
Probably 240 now around there, at least in my area. It depends on the area, but yeah.
That's not bad at all.
All right, and the last one. All right, so you guys said, Telex said 20 years old or 12 years old, 60% ABV, ex-bourbon, Glen Scotia. Eric said 24 years old, 57% ABV, ex-bourbon, Talisker. So the last one.
It does taste like it's Talisker, so if you win, Eric, I'm not going to be surprised. Yeah.
All right, so this is a 27-year-old Talisker.
27. Okay.
Wow.
This is
holy
one
moly.
of my favorite bottles. I think it's incredible. I think this is, I know why you said younger, because it's aggressive. And this is to prove people wrong that older whiskey cannot be aggressive.
That's
but
beautiful.
it can also be refined because you put a couple of drops of water, it becomes refined.
Yeah.
So this is a beast of a dram, but I love it. And this is, let's see, to give you some facts on it.
That's like one of the best scotches I've had in a long
I think
time.
it's the complexity, everything on it, it's just fantastic. 3,000 bottles were released back in 2013.
Oh, wow.
It's a Diageo special release. That's what they did back in 2013. It's a refill American oak, so you guys got that right. And from 1985. So it's some of the notes, brine. So it's definitely Talisker through and through.
You say 24 years?
27.
27. I'm just trying to write this down, make sure I keep track.
So it's brine, sea spray, damp wood, dunnage warehouse, mustiness, kind of the palate, licorice sweetness.
And that's why I thought Campbelltown, with that Dunnage Warehouse, that's where I was getting the Campbelltown vibe from. Sorry, Go ahead, man.
No, that's all right. Intense. It is intense, especially without any water on, which I enjoy anyway. It's a very long finish. It ramps up. The intensity ramps up through when you have it in, as you're drinking it, and then toward the finish. Water kind of brings out more sweetness and fruits. Apples, definitely. Oranges, mangoes a little bit, but more. I think the apples
came out hardcore with the water.
Oh, yeah.
Finish, dark fruit, chocolate, which I don't get as much of. This is from the notes, but minerality, I think minerality is true. I think you do get a little bit of that seaweed.
It's a good balance at the end, though. It's not like one way or another.
Yeah. So that's, I told you I didn't send you a 25-year-old. I sent you a 27-year-old.
You bastard. No, bastard in a good way, man. That was like insanely good. I'm afraid to ask you, what's the price you bought it? What does it go for now, if you don't mind me asking?
The price, I got a good deal. I got some of these for the, whiskey friend in New York. So I got it's at retail, which was $300 to $400 at retail when it came out.
Wow, nice.
It's not young. It wasn't even cheap back then, right? But then, and they probably went up a little bit on it since then. But now it's a $700 to $800 bottle.
Oh my God, man!
Yeah,
around $750 probably. What you're going to get it for?
See. Remember when I said this? I hope this doesn't cost an arm and a leg because I want the bottle of this so bad.
Yeah, but I think it's because I hear people and whiskey tubers who, especially if you look at the core ranges, there's some special releases that are put out that they're they take peat fades and it becomes refined and it loses a lot. But there's a lot of good older whiskeys out there that you still get a good peat. It's still intense, especially at cast strength. I've got a lot of Lefroy, especially not from the standpoint of their releases they put out, official releases, but the independent bottlers where the peat it will knock you, on your ass at 20 years old. So.
Oh yeah. How would you compare that bottle that we just had, Eric? How would you compare that with the Talisker 18? Did you like one versus the other one?
It's so interesting, right? Like the Talisker 18 had so much more like of a refined tropical kind of vibe to it. This was next level compared to that. I loved the reason I think I noticed that this was Talisker right away is because I'm not a huge Talisker fan, but I do really like the 18, and I could tell just by the sharpness of the peat.
And you like the Distiller's Edition a lot too.
Well, I like the Distiller's Edition. Yeah, the Distiller's Edition I like quite a bit. The younger Taliskers they're just not really my wheelhouse because of the sharpness of the pepper note. It's just not quite my favorite.
I need to send you an 8-year-old Talisker that will blow you away. And it's that Talisker 8-year-old, and I think there's some people, Dustin in the chat, who's had it, Kenny. I think there's also who else is John is one of my friends on here that's had the 8. It is fantastic, and you would love it. It beats the 18 hands down to me.
But
it's cast strength too, and I enjoy it. Cast strength,
If that one last one, Eric, if that was like $200, Would you buy that?
Yeah, in a second.
In a second, I'm just trying to figure out how much more you liked it better than the 10, like or like the ones that you didn't normally like.
Yeah, I mean, I would put this. This one was hands down above the 10. Like, the youthfulness of the 10 is what throws me off. I mean, I don't like the
Right.
I don't really like the Dark Storm all that much. It was fine. But the older stuff, the 18, which I reviewed on my channel recently, which was I really, really liked. I think, yeah, with Talisker for me, the older stuff is better in terms of how it lands on my palate. And so,
have either of you had the Niche Point already?
I have.
Did you like that one, or was that not your thing?
No, that's not my thing.
That's the 57.4% one, right?
You know, I don't remember what it was. I had it at the distillery and a tasting. So
okay.
And I also got to try their new make, which was an interesting experience. That was pretty cool.
In a good way or a bad way?
Oh no, I mean, it wasn't bad. No, it wasn't bad. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't want to drink it every day. But when you compared it to the 18, they had, we got to try. I mean, the 18 was far in a way the better of the ones I've tried in the core range. But it's so funny. You go into this tasting room and they have all the boxes of the old releases on the wall, and you got these incredible, like they put out a I don't know if there's a 20, it was a 31-year-old, I believe, in a boat, a wooden boat type thing casing. That's very hard to get, and I'm looking for it. But but it's they had a bunch of those cases on it. They had a bunch of the white boxes for the 27-year-old, and all these old ones on the wall. It just looked awesome.
Oh man!
Yeah,
the Niche Point was fine. It was fine, but it wasn't. It just it was good. It wasn't bad.
I might be thinking of the 57 Degrees North one. Have you had that one before?
That's a travel retail, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, I haven't had that one. I had the port. Is it Rungi or Rugi or whatever it's called?
Well, it's just Port Ree is how you pronounce it, but yeah, it's Rughie.
I did have that one. They had that one too.
I wasn't. That's the only Talisker that really didn't do a lot for me was the Port Ree, only because the finish seemed like it finished really quickly. I did enjoy the 57 Degrees North and the Niche Point and some of the other ones. I even liked the Dark Storm that he was talking about. But
did you like the Distiller's Edition?
I love the Distiller's Edition too. I think I like a lot more than I dislike when it comes to a lot of the peaty ones, unless the peat is like one of those weird Tom and Tool peats or Enoch peats or something like that. Like it's hit and miss on some of those, but I'll have to try. I want to get my hands on a Micromore from Aaron that does peat. I've never had their peated drams before.
Oh yeah, it's mixed bag, but I think you might like it. I mean, it's very like bourbon.
You've had it before, Stephen, haven't you? The Micromore stuff.
Yeah.
Do you like the peated Aaron stuff, or is it just not as good? Or
I'm sure I've had it, but I can't. I don't remember it.
If it's not memorable, then it's not all that great.
Yeah, I mean, I like it.
Yeah, but I mean, for the price, I mean, it's not relative. It's not that expensive. I mean, it might be a little bit more now, but
yeah,
right.
Yeah. No, I think it's Aaron's an underrated distillery in my view. A lot of times, it's a good value still. I think there's some of their single casks have been great values. Their new lineup is as you say, you guys know it. I think it's an exciting new core range that they've come out with.
Yeah.
So.
Have you tried the new 21 yet?
That quarter cask Bothy of their new range. I'm really excited to open soon.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to try any of the new core range.
Oh, okay. Definitely get your hands on the 21 if you can, because that was, I think Malt would attest that was a pretty good offer.
Yeah,
I like that much better than the Benrack 21, the new one as well. So.
Oh, good enough. Yeah, no, I think they're doing exciting things down there, and then they got the new Lag distillery that's up and running. So we'll see. Give us a little time, and I'm sure that'll be some good stuff they put out there too.
Is it as hard to get to as the Aaron distillery is? Because I've heard
it's further south, I believe.
Wow, yeah, that's a tough thing. Like if you ever go to try to see Aaron or Jura or some of those, they're way outside the beaten path, so it's kind of a tough road front.
Yeah, big time.
I just like to be able to get to Scotland, period, more or less any of these crazy off the wall distilleries.
Right.
After this COVID stuff, man, that's my first big trip I'm going to go to. Definitely.
I got to spend. It's pretty Talisker's, on the bay there, and we got lucky, and you know, it's not super expensive. They have some Airbnbs up on a cliff, kind of about half a mile away from the distillery, and we got to stay there for 4 days and just explore the island. And it was a beautiful place. Beautiful place.
I can imagine, man. I don't even think 3 weeks would be long enough if I got a chance to go.
Might not.
Well,
in this age of working online, it's like you might end up finding yourself staying there for a little bit longer.
That's true. I have been saving a lot of money on the side. I mean, I do have some renovations at the bathroom I got to deal with, but maybe once I get past that, maybe the wife will.
If anybody wants a good, this is a lot of people might not know this, and you guys might not know this because it just happened. But Whiskey Exchange is now shipping to most states again.
Oh, nice.
I went to the Whisky Exchange last year. I was in London and got to visit it, and wow, what a surreal experience that was.
No, it's great. And then, but there's a slightly less expensive, still not because of tariffs, not the cheapest, but sub 100 pounds, about 95 pounds or something. But if this is one that's great, if anyone wants a good purchasing option, this is a Lachey 13-year-old Whiskey Exchange exclusive.
Oh, wow.
They do a great job with their picks, but this one is fantastic. First fill, I believe it's first fill sherry. Yeah, sherry butt. It's cask strength 57.4, but the balance on this one is fantastic.
And that's a nice peat too, I imagine.
Oh, it's very peated, but it's balanced. It's not. It's like a lot of people like the barbecue notes, like a big barbecue note. This it's more balanced, and which I like. It's not dirty peat. It's fantastic. But I just thought some of the guys might care about the Whiskey Exchange opening back up, that's big news.
Yeah, no, that's good news to hear. Thank you.
That is a big one because I do get my stuff. Some of it comes from there, and the fact that they are able to get to more states is a huge thing. I'm hoping to see Master of Malt come back to the United States because I used to get like my Lefroy Ancomore came from there, and I would have never have gotten it if it wasn't for those guys. But then as soon as I ordered it, that's when they stopped shipping to everybody, and it's like, oh man. That's not good.
Yeah, no, I know but hopefully, maybe that's a good sign for other places opening up in the UK. I mean, you can already get some things, but legally, maybe now we can try to be able to get a few things.
Right.
Definitely, because it's tough.
I got to get ready to sign off here, gentlemen. But thank you for the sample tasting, man. This was a lot of fun. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, man. It was great. I love sharing it with you guys, man. And anyway,
yeah,
I was surprised. Go ahead, man.
Oh no, I was saying I appreciate that, man. It was a lot of fun, and I totally appreciate your generosity. And with that, I will leave it to you two gentlemen to bring it home, and we will talk offline about doing some samples. And Stephen, I'd love to get you back at some point in time if I, for some reason, have something you haven't had. Would love to figure out a way to get it to the right. So we will keep it open online. And with that, I'll catch you guys all next Tuesday. Okay.
Yeah, we'll stick around here for a bit, but thanks so much, Eric. We'll touch base afterward.
Take care.
All right, man. See you for now. That was. I think we did a lot better than I expected too on some of these.
I think you guys did great. I mean, the Catalan, that's a great guess on that because that's, and you kind of know my lineup too. So
that was a tough one. I mean, honestly, the only reason I thought Catalan was I was lucky enough to have that. I mean, I know they're all kind of batch different. But that taste, I was like, I've had this one before somewhere. The other two were so foreign that I was like, I knew that I'd never had them before. But that middle one was kind of a tough one because I thought, well, it really feels like if it's going to be a Scotch, it's going to be like a Glendronach or it's going to be, something like that. But once I went back and had the nose and taste again, I'm like, man, this does taste like that Vino Barrique Solus. That's why I brought it out.
You have any of the samples left? You have anything left
of that Solus thing,
or either any of them? Do you have any left of the samples? We'll have to drink a little bit more in one.
On these. Oh yeah, I went. Unfortunately, after pouring them and adding water, I went through. But I'm gonna pour something in a second. And as a thank you to you, and I'm gonna also get one out to Malt. I've got a Lagavulin 18 Fashil from 2018. Have you already had that one?
The 2018? No, I haven't.
So I can hook you up with that as a big thank you on the side, and I'll try to throw a couple of other things in there for it to make it
man, thanks.
make it a good deal.
I love Lagavulin, so that's a great one.
I just opened it yesterday for the first time, and a guy named Bob H. It's what he goes by online. He's from New Jersey. We met up in New York with one of his clients a couple of years ago, and he was working down here. He works in IT, setting up a lot of businesses and stuff, and he was in the DC circuit, so he stopped by, and I was like, I've got an Ardbeg 19, I've got a Lagavulin 18, and I've got a Lafroig 18. We should open a bottle. What do you want to open? And that was his choice, and I thought,
oh wow,
that's a good choice. So I definitely he enjoyed it very much. So I think that since we both liked it,
I forgot who I sold it, but I just sold a 2019 Fashil bottling because I've had it before and I liked it, and I've been kind of going a little crazy lately, so I wanted to feel better, so I did sell it. I probably wish I kind of did not now, but I've got plenty of Lagavulin, but it's a good one. It just it helped me to get something else I really wanted more.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, this that 18 is a 53.9. It's got a great ABV on it, and it's really complex for a Lagavulin Isla. It's got a lot more going for it than just the peat and the typical deal. So I think you'll find it interesting, definitely, especially at that higher ABV too.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about it because I have not had that one. I've had these. What have I had? I've had the 15 maybe, or 16, the 17. I haven't had the 18. I have the 19. I've had the 20.
Those were so good. You could tell I liked it because I tried to savor every drop, and even with that, it just goes by so fast. It's crazy.
The Lagavulin, back when they put them in non-seasoned sherry cask, that's when they were phenomenal. And I've got a couple of those, but they're so expensive now. It's kind of crazy. But
do you have to go back to like White Horse days to get it, or is it?
No. I think 2014 might have been the last one.
Wow, that's not too bad, but yeah, it's probably hard to find because once you get to 2015 nowadays, it's really hard to find some of this stuff.
Yeah, and you see the color.
Oh wow, yeah.
It's much darker normally too. Yeah. So, but they said they're never going. Won't be going back. So that's what you're going to get out of them. So the season.
Oh, I wonder why they're not going to try to do something.
I think they're just not available, and they're pretty expensive probably too. They're probably not available, and they're very expensive. So they're seasoning them now, and that can work well too. It can, and it does. The 19 is good. The 2020 is good. I need to spend more time with the 2020. I haven't had a long time with it. But people I trust say it's very good. So I had it at the end of a long night. So and then things like this. Another Diageo product has a seasoned sherry treated American oak. Is that 22-year-old Fashil from last year? And this beat the Lagavulin 19-year-old hands down. Not even close.
Wow.
Hey, to my taste.
I'll have to get a bottle of that somehow, or if not that exact one, something like it would be pretty cool, like a 20 something.
That's one of the best overall Kalilas I've ever had. I've had some.
Wow.
I've had a few 30-plus-year-olds that were more, but they were not distill releases. I've got some older ones here that I haven't opened yet.
Those 30-year-olds behind you, those two black boxes, are those both unopened?
Yeah, this is a 30-year-old, and I've got a couple of the 35s.
And those haven't been opened yet, right?
No, I haven't opened them yet.
Gotcha.
I haven't had them too long. But yeah, you can see.
Oh man, I bet that is just unreal, insane. That's
Yeah, no, I think another I think another distillery that's underrated, Kalila, to me. So
is that going to be a retirement opening?
no, yeah, no, that's the retirement openings on that top shelf. So,
I got you. Yeah, I'll have to try because I do love the 18. I was lucky enough to get a bottle of that, and that was one of my favorite scotches overall. Even for the lower ABV, it was pretty.
I'm getting trolled by Kenny. Kenny is in the chat, and he's trolling me because I did say, all right, you got to hold your fucking horses, Kenny. We're gonna when COVID is done, we are gonna open either a Port Ellen or a Brora. So.
Oh, nice.
But the COVID, we got to be done with COVID. That shit's got to be done.
And I'll be driving to Tennessee that day, baby. If you say the B word or the PE word, I'm gone.
The PE, I'm such a Port Ellen fanboy. I love it. They do some great stuff.
Do you like Brora as much, or is it like a favorite, or you're not a big Brora fan either?
I love Brora too. I think it's super complex. I just like. I'm more of it still has a peat, but the Brora is something you don't have it. At least the ones I have and had, most of them. Some of them I take that back. I mean, but some of the official releases I've had, you don't just sit and drink it along with a lot of other cask strength whiskeys, and you're not going to pull out the complexities as much. You sit down with it, you nose it for like an hour, you sip on it for an hour. It's a long process, and you'll get so much out of it and it changes, completely. I just had a 2015 Brora 37-year-old, a sample of it, and it was just it was fantastic. I could definitely see what the hype was about.
Oh, same here. I've been lucky enough to have a Brora and a Port Ellen before, like sample wise, and the samples were just outstanding. I can't remember the exact age, but they were up there in age. They were probably like 27 to 32 years of age, and they both were memorable as being like outstanding, great. Have you ever had a roast bank before by chance?
I have.
Do you like those as well, or are they not in your top?
I've had the 21-year-old roast bank, and I sold the one I had because I wanted something else that I just enjoyed more.
Yeah.
So it's just not in my wheelhouse. I don't think I can definitely appreciate it as being a fantastic whiskey. It's not just I don't know. It's just not my thing as much. What I enjoy. So.
Have you got to have either like a pity vac? Have you had a pity vac before?
If I have, I don't remember, but it's possible.
That's one of those.
I'm told all the time that yes, I've had that or something, and I don't remember it, so it's possible.
Yeah, pity vac is pretty good. I was lucky enough to have it was the Flora and Fauna bottle, but it was the old. It was like it's like an old unicorn bottle by this point. And you can't like find it anywhere for under like 300 minimum. But it was pretty good, but I wouldn't pay like these astronomically high prices for them just because they're rare. It's good whiskey. It's worth about $150 to $200, but to find some of these, it was just so hard to do.
Yeah, it's tough.
Little Mill was another really good dead one. Little Mill 12. It's hard to find and very pricey, but it's a good distillery for what it was.
Kenny got he got his hands on a 19. I hope he doesn't mind me just saying it, but if he does, I don't care. Like a 60, and he'll probably say it's a 68 maybe.
Wow.
Little Mill, like first fill sherry, roasted sherry. I forgot. 65. Excuse me. Sorry, I don't want to leave any years out, but 65. So
nice.
That it did look really nice. I'm sure I can't wait to taste that one, Kenny.
Yeah, the same here, Kitty.
Yeah.
I've had the 12, and that's great. I couldn't imagine what a 1965 would be like. My God, yeah. I'm afraid to ask where he found it.
It's a place.
I was gonna say he's probably got some old estate. Did he hit somebody over the head?
No. It's all the up and up. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say up and up, but it's as good as you can.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kenny, you had to tell me when you're available. He sent a couple things on the side to go over, and I need to get with him and do a little side tasting as well. That'll be a lot of fun because I haven't even touched those just yet. And John even sent some recently. Unfortunately, I got a couple extra D's, but I'll make it work out. Like he did an A B C D E, and I got an A B C D D. So I gotta figure out what we're gonna do about the extra letters there, but it's not a huge deal. He also had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that'll be pretty crazy.
Yeah, you got the samples from John, right? So
yeah,
good.
Do you know when we're going to be looking at those? Is that next?
Yes, John's on here, so we need to figure it out, I guess. So
I thought he said something about Sunday, but I wasn't sure if it was a definite deal or a iffy Sunday thing.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, same here. So if he's a go, then let me know either way, and that'll work out. There's no
another one. This is another one that I just got in from the connection that for the Little Mill, and Kenny got one too. But there's a 68.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, 31-year-old Ben Nevis. So
that's crazy. I've never heard of the Macalops.
Macalops. Yeah, I don't know how to say it either. But,
have you had any of their stuff before?
No.
That's the only thing that makes me nervous when you get into these independents. But you think if it's that old, how bad could it be, right?
Well, I mean, it is lower ABV than I would normally want, but the reviews. I mean, there's you look at Whiskey Fun, you look at Whiskey Base, you look at your reviews that you can pull up, and you can find something, kind of get a good, at least have a good sense of whether it's going to be good or not. I definitely don't just buy something to buy just because it's old. I need to have some kind of idea. If you're spending a decent amount of money on something, you want to make sure that it's decent and it's going to be good. So for money.
Good recommendation on the Whiskey Base too, because I've used that for specific batches on certain things. Like if it's like a real rare release where there's like 100 bottles and that's all you get, you can usually get some at least good ideas if it's going to be worth your time or not on that deal. So that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, no, especially if there's a 20 or more reviews, right? You get a good sense of what people are thinking about it. When you get down to 2 or 3 reviews, you don't really get a good understanding. So I use Whiskey Base a lot. I use Surge for Whiskey Fun. I think especially when it comes to more of the peated bottles, he's got a good palate. Some of his other things I don't always agree with, but he's not as big on the heavy sherry stuff, and sometimes I'm not either. But sometimes I like a good sherry bomb. Depends. But his peated stuff, does pretty good reviews on that. It lines up pretty well with me.
Yeah. At first, I thought that second one that you gave us was going to be a real heavy sherry bomb, but the more I tasted it, the more wine influence I was getting off of it. That's why I kept going back to the whole. This has got to be either port or red wine or a combination thereof. It's crazy. Good to see you, Samuel Cask. I didn't know you were there. Does John go by Meadmole? Is that him?
That's John. Yeah, that's him. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I'm gonna give a plug out to whoever's watching. You need to check out John Meadmule's website, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I don't know what else he's on, but he's a great writer. He doesn't do any videos, but he does great reviews, and he's got a good review up on the Talisker 15. I think was his newest review.
Oh, nice.
The cast strength the special release that was released last year, I believe, or maybe even last year, I think. Yeah. But go check it out. He's a great, fun writer and well worth your time. Meadmule.com will get you to where you need to get.
No, I didn't know. It's funny, John. I knew there was a Mead Mule as far as the name, and I know that you've been around the channel before, and I also appreciate you coming, by the way. But I did not know it was the same person. So there you go, learning stuff all the time. How is the Kilcairn Sherrywood? Oh man, well. That was a good bottle if you're talking about the works in progress one, but the best one was that 15-year-old Oloroso Sherry single cask Kilcairn. That was one of the best Kilcairns I think I've ever had. Was you lucky enough to get one of those, Stephen? I hope you were.
I was not. No, I don't think. Well, I mean, I have some of the 15s, but I don't have the Oloroso one. I don't think. Let me see. I have a rum cask up here, 15. They put out last year.
I didn't have the rum one.
They put a bunch of 15s out.
Yeah, they had like 5 different ones, different.
I think then they go. It's different places, different regions of the world. It wasn't.
Yeah.
So,
I can't remember where I got mine. Was an Oloroso sherry, and I'm trying to remember which region it was designated for. I can't remember if it was this or somewhere else. I did get it locally. I didn't order it, so I think it was to this region. Yeah, there was like a rum, there was an Oloroso, there was a PX, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. There was a straightforward bourbon, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm missing something. There was a port one, I think.
I guarantee all of them are quality. I mean,
yeah.
Bill Karen, those are always, I had the 8 sherry, which people really love too. The first little 8-year-old. I was not as big of a fan of it. It was a little too dirty sherry for me, like it's just over the top sherry.
Yeah, I was the same way. This 8 cast strength, I thought it was decent, but if I had the choice between that and the 12, I probably would go with the 12, to be honest with you. Even at the 8 cast strength, I think it did taste kind of a dirtier sherry. It wasn't as the quality just wasn't the same.
Okay.
I'm with you on that.
Oh, you mean the 15? You talking about the 15 or the?
No, the 8. The 8. The cast strength 8 one.
That's right. So the 8 just. I mean, it was fine, maybe, but it just wasn't. It wasn't what I usually look for in a sherry. So.
No, I agree with you there because it was a bit rough comparatively, especially with that 15 Oloroso was a night and day difference on quality.
Oh, really? So now I have to be looking on the lookout for the 15.
Yeah, I wish I didn't already go through that one. I'd send you something to that one myself.
Oh, no, it's fine.
But I'll look around because it was good enough where if I find another bottle of it, I would buy it.
Oh, did you say it never came to this area, and so you came over to where you were.
Yeah, I was looking up to petite cellars I usually do business with, and my guy will keep a couple bottles on the side for me since I do pretty much try to buy everything through them. Mm-hmm. And he had one on the side for me. He's like, yeah, I got this Kilkerran 15 Oloroso if you're interested. I'm like, how much? He's like, I can't remember exactly. I think it was around like 120 to 150. And I was like, sold. You don't have to ask me twice on Kilkerran because they're usually... I mean, even the works in progress were decent. I like that sherry wood and the cast strength bourbon wood ones I had. I like those better than that cast strength 8, like you said. That sherry was just not.
Yeah, it looks like Dustin got 3 of the 15, so that's where I need to go to find one.
Hey, Dustin, if you're selling one, be nice to him, man. Don't go crazy on him.
You can always trade. I'm sure I'd have something that he would like.
Oh, true. I mean, if he can't find something, I know I could.
Yeah.
It's like,
what have you been buying lately, Telex? What have you been getting lately? What's been?
I will give you a preview of what is to come. You're going to be happy maybe with a couple, and a couple you might be like, what the hell are they thinking?
No, I know. I understand what you're doing, like how you're like mixing it up, and yeah.
You're still gonna say, what the hell are they thinking? Because I know Dustin and I know a couple other people are gonna be like, my God, he's a glutton for punishment. So on the schedule, Malt and I kind of sat down and tried to iron out some shows that we're going to do. Yeah. The next show I think you guys will enjoy is going to be the first hour is going to be the Kilkerran heavily peated dram, which I've never even tried before. I've heard mixed reviews on it. I'm kind of curious to see how good or bad it's going to be. And then that one's from Malt Muser. The one I picked up is going to be the Kilhelman Ambruk, which is the mess up that they did recently. I don't know if you're.
Yeah.
It's going to be an eye opener, though. I'm not going to give it away, but stay tuned for that show. I think it's going to be a fun one, and that'll be one of the more harder to find. But you can find the Ambruk pretty easy still, even now, and it's not crazy expensive or anything.
Right.
Then we're going to take a look at a couple bourbons on the 29th.
What?
But good ones, I think. I can tell you that it's going to be like a 57.1%, like a Four Roses single barrel OESK in the Elijah Craig bottled and bond 12-year batch something or other. They're high ABV. It should be interesting.
He's gonna. It's the barrel proof Elijah Craig 12-year-old.
We'll be taking a look at a couple bourbons. He's trying to get me to, I guess, come to the dark side, and I'm not sure if I'm going to go there.
You will not go over there once, because you are a Scotch man, and trust me, I came from the bourbon world, and I enjoy bourbon, but from I have to be in the. It's Scotch is so much better.
I agree, but we'll see what we'll see.
No, that's understandable.
Then we're going to do the. Go ahead.
And then say, well, you're going to get in this bourbon. You're going to be doing reviews. You're going to be getting a lot of bourbon guys on here.
I'm not going to do bourbon like reviews myself. I'm just doing the joint thing. I'm going to just entertain, you know. I'm gonna still do my short review before we do the show. I'll just pick an off the wall one to do, and we'll have we'll still do the bourbon show though on the side. Then we're going to take a look at Amaret Fusion and Balcones, which I've never had before either.
I haven't had any Balcones before. I don't. Maybe it's good. I mean, it's Texas whiskey. I don't know.
I've heard good stories. We'll find out. I have had some other different Texas whiskeys that were actually intriguing enough for me to think, well, this might not be that bad. So we'll see what happens with it. Then we're going to do some. Go back to doing some Ardbegs, some Tamdus, some Enochs. We're going to look at some Lechegs, some Benromics, some Deanstons, some Spaysides, which is kind of funny because there's a distillery actually called Spayside that does Spay whiskey. Mm-hmm. I picked up an 18 that I want to just see what it's like. It's not crazy expensive, and for an 18, I thought, well, what the hell? It might be worth kind of, just saying. Yeah. But then it's going to be a crazy show. I'm going to quest. Have you ever heard of the Moody Blues album called "The Search for the Lost Chord"?
Yes. Maybe. Have you told me about that?
I don't think it wasn't for me, but that's just one of those classic, proggy kind of albums. The Search for the Lost Chord is what we all do as musicians. Well, I'm in search for a good Jura, so I went and bought. Crazily, I know I'm a glutton for punishment. This is why I said I'm a glutton for punishment. But I got the 10, I got an old 16, and I got a new.
That's the problem. You're looking at official releases. You're not going to get it with that.
I might. I'm going to try there first.
You need to move the independent bottles, and then maybe you might find one. I mean, I saw a first fill sherry dark as dark can be, a Delphi, which they do. I don't know how they come up with such dark bottlings anyway, but there was a Jura that was like that dark, super dark. I mean, and that might, maybe 21-year-old, that would probably be one that might be good. But I haven't had a good one.
It's funny that you mentioned the Adelphi. When Bob H was over here recently, he brought over an Adelphi. It was a Taninic, but it was full-blown 61.9% cherry bomb. It was so good, dude. I was like, wow, if Taninic can put out something like this in their distillery bottles, I'd be all over it. But yeah, sometimes it takes an Adelphi to do like a off-the-wall release. But okay, these are the three I'm going to give a try, and I'm hoping to find a decent distillery version. It's the Jura 10, which is just a warm-up dram. But we're going to look at the Old 16, which I've heard good reviews on, the old version, and they have a new 21 Tide I'm going to try and see if that 21 Tide is any count. But
you can put all the money you spend on that together to get an incredibly good bottle.
I'm only doing it once because I only did it once because I wanted a good bottle of Jura that was a distillery version. I thought, well, I'll go all the way for the 21 just to get one. But if I don't find one out of the 10, the old 16 or the 21 Tide, I then will entertain you and I will find a good independent bottling version of Jura.
Well, I mean, I'd have to it's going to have to be really well reviewed. It would have to be. I mean, honestly, no, I'm not going to buy one.
I'm going to try one.
I really look at it from the standpoint of where I can put my money, right, and where I can put, whether it be something that I know I'm going to like. If I try something, from someone else, and then I love it, then that's one thing. But It's just going and spending a good chunk of change on something that I have no idea if I'm going to really love.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
It's not easy. I only do it because, like, for my own interest, I want to see and be able to say that I've tried every distillery a bottle of Jura, and it just, like you said, it's just not there. And then go to the independent bottlings to try to find that special.
I respect that you go, because you've had so many more distilleries than I've had, which I applaud. I think that's the way to do it. I just cannot. I just kind of know what I like now. I mean, there's probably things that surprise me.
Here's one for you. Here's one. Have you ever had a Bladnock before?
Yeah, I have.
Did you ever have the Adela 15 by chance? The distillery bottle of the Adela 15?
Probably not the distillery.
Probably not. It runs around 110 to 120, but I tell you what, it is really, really good. I think if you tried it, the ABV is not that low or high or whatever, but let me see what the this is the look of the bottle. It's like this. This is if you find this is definitely worth a pickup. They do have a 17. They do have a 17.
Okay.
They do have a 17 that's really good. This one is 40. Let's see, 46.7. So it's right at that, almost that sweet spot of 48 to me. 15-year. It's all Oloroso cask matured. So I think if you were looking for, and this is a lowland, but it doesn't taste like a lowland at all. It definitely does not taste like a Auchentoshan or any of the lowland distilleries, even though it's from there. But this is one of the best, like, surprising whiskeys. And just to make sure I wasn't off my rocker, I sent this as part of a blind tasting to somebody else, and they guessed that it was a Glendronach. So that tells you, that tells you that it's definitely good. It's definitely one of those that's a hidden gem. And that's why I do the whole distillery search thing, because even though I have been burned a lot by Jura and Tinnick and Dalmore and Glen Spey and Glen Ord and some of these Mocklemores and all that, I have been blessed by Bladnock. Annoch has got some really good ones.
Yeah, I've had some decent Annochs, yeah.
Nakando. Nakando's got some. It's a 15-year-old. It's a really, really good one. Benromic was a surprise. I never had a Benromic until started kind of searching around. Deanston was a surprise.
Is it Benromic, or what's the other Ben I had? That Benromic and Ben. What's the other Ben?
Ben Nevis was a good surprise.
No, not Ben Nevis, but the other. There's another one, isn't there?
There's Ben Ryack. There's
Ben Ryack. Yeah, Ben Ryack. That's, I think, Kenny, if he's still here. He had, thank you, John. He said it. Ben Ryack. Ben Ryack or Ben Ryack? You pronounce that.
It's like a Ben Ryack.
Ben Ryack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kenny had one. Man, what was that? It was an older one, 70 or late 70s vintage, or maybe 80s. I can't remember. It was really good. It had a lot of 78. Yeah, 78, and it had a lot of I don't know, it was apricots or fruit. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've had it, but it was very interesting and good.
Even some Glengascoughs were the Torfa was a pretty good, interesting dram. And Glenrothes has some decent ones that was surprising.
Yeah.
The new stuff, not the old stuff, but their new stuff is actually.
Well, they're old. I mean, I do have this, which for my 50th, I'm going to open. It's a 1972 Glenrothes.
I haven't had any of their older stuff.
Yeah.
But I've heard good stuff about some of their newer openings. But we'll see. That'll be interesting. They never change the look of their bottles. They always have that kind of rounded barrel.
Yeah, this is an older. This is 2004 is when this was bottled. So yeah,
this one, the one I have here, is in 2004 as well. That's funny. That should be a good one, because I cleaned mine out pretty quickly and I enjoyed it.
yeah, I hope so.
But yeah, some of them were actually surprisingly good. Like the Longmorns even were surprisingly decent. If you want a spicy, savory dram.
I do like Longmorn. Well, that's some good ones I enjoy of those.
It all depends on what you're in the mood for.
You like sweeter stuff than me, probably. I think
it depends. I think on on what it is and how it's balanced. Like I'm like you, I do like a straightforward sweet dram sometimes, but most of the time I want it to be, balanced with some herbal notes and some even some minerality. I don't mind if it's, in the right places. If it's got some saltiness and some brininess going on with it. Even some mint or florals are fine too. It just depends on, but it's straightforward. Sweet drams are okay, but even with that, you have to be in the mood for like a Auchentoshan 3-wood or like a Glenmorangie La Santa. Those are kind of just straightforward sweet drams that are decent, but I'm not gonna seek it out and spend a lot of money on it or anything like that either.
Right.
It's one of those kind of like it's just nice to have a bottle
I
of.
try to think like sweet. What I have.
Like if you had like a sweet 12-year-old, just a regular, sherry dram off the wall.
Bourbon. I got bourbon. That's sweet. That might be my sweetest stuff I have. I'm sure it's the sweetest stuff I have, but maybe I mean the Balvenie I have is up there is pretty sweet.
Yeah, Balvenies do run pretty sweet.
Yeah, the batch 3, the ton 1401. I mean, it's not too bad though.
Do you ever take gambles? Do you ever take gambles on Traverito bottles very often at all?
Not without looking at hearing good things about them now.
One that might be worth your while if you're in the mood for a Balvenie is like a Balvenie Triple Cast 16. I haven't had it, but I'm familiar with that. Balvenie, I'm moving away from it a little bit. I love their dram. I mean, I love some of their bottlings, but I did buy a 30-year-old not long ago, an older 30-year-old. I've got a couple of those, but oh man, those are crazy prices there.
Yeah, well, I got a great deal on it, so I couldn't pass it up. It was a fantastic deal. But I like their 25. I think the 25, what I have, the single barrel that I have, because they're all kind of single barrels. The 25-year-olds ex bourbon, and it's fantastic. I love it. But I'm a fan. But I've definitely been moving toward. I'm an Isla guy first and foremost, and then in Islands and Highlands. So I kind of, Speyside is, if it's not Balvenie or Mortlock, I don't really do a lot of Speysides. So
I don't blame you, because the more I think of it, yeah, a lot of those really don't push a lot of buttons for me. Like Benronic's okay in some of them, like the peated Septum Decim's pretty good. The Solstice, if you ever had that one. I never had the Authenticus. That's a pricey one. It's like a 25-year-old. I'd love to try it sometime, but
yeah. John's got a good question for you, Telex. What was your favorite of the night?
Yeah, I just saw that out of the corner of my eye, and I'm thinking, well, I did enjoy the first one. It wasn't my favorite, but it was still good, and that was the
that was the Ben Nevis 20-year-old.
That was the Ben Nevis 20. I did like it when I went back to it after trying all 3. So I think it grew on me more. I think it's one of those that grows the longer you sit with it. Probably because, of course, the age is definitely there too. So I think that helped a lot with the evolution of everything that was going on. That one was really good. The second one was a top pleaser too, but completely different. Definitely more. That one was good in a nostalgic kind of way to me, because that was like going back to the Whiskey Expo days and going through and trying different stuff. And that taste did stick out as being one of my favorites of the night. And but my favorite one of all 3 of these was definitely that Talisker, because when I first went through it, all the notes and the nose and everything, I'm like, man, it screamed like Kilchoman, and then it changed to like a Talisker, and then it changed to like a Campbelltown to me, and I was all over the place with it. But I knew that I had to have a bottle of that sometime. But knowing the price on that is going to be a tougher deal. But maybe I'll get lucky and find like an old.
Well, you get to try it though. At least that's what will be a lot of. I got some bottles that I'm not able to get. Like I've got a sample of a Lagavulin 37 coming in, so I'll get to try it. Yeah, 1 ounce sample, so I'll get to try that and see what I think. But
37-year-old Lagavulin, oh my god, man, I can't even imagine.
the oldest one ever. So that'll be interesting to try.
Is it a newer release or is it an older release, or do you know?
It's not too old. Somebody in the chat might know, but I mean, maybe it's a couple of years old or it might be. It's not super old, but
It's like within the last 5 years, basically.
Yeah, it is definitely within the last 5 years.
37 years, man. That's I knew they had the 25, but I didn't know they went like even crazier, because the 25 is like still like what, $1,200 or something.
Yes, yeah, it's 12. That's a good deal on it for $1,200. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw one in Mills down here in Annapolis.
37 is like 3,000 something, probably. 3,500 around there, probably.
Oh man, hopefully someday I can just go, okay, I'll take a couple.
well, I'm gonna see what I think about it, so we'll see. I'll let you know if it's worth it. I know it's not worth it. We all know it's not worth that much money, but
you sure it's not worth the left kidney?
But yeah, we'll see. I mean, hopefully the sample's worth what I paid for it. So
he says 2013, 76
yeah,
to 2013. Wow, that's
all right. So it is 7 years ago. Okay,
that's pretty awesome. That's 1 year after I was born.
You can still see them on the shelf in somewhere. That's probably why I was thinking, okay, 76. But I wish it was a 72. Then it might make. I might think about it a little bit more. But
I got to get you guys to find me the perfect 75 bottle, because that's my year, 75. So I'm gonna have to try to find something really cool.
An Ardbeg single cask would be probably, that comes to mind for 75s that I can think of off the top of my head.
You're speaking my language already.
Yeah, no, I know you, so I think that's probably
Could you imagine?
I can. I mean, what is this one? This was a 70. What is this one? Hold on.
Oh, it's a nice color, whatever that is.
It's an Ardbeg.
Oh man, is it a Delphi?
It is.
I bet that's glorious, because I mean, a Delphi I've got hooked on already from that one bottle he brought. Man, it was that good. And if that color is an Ardbeg, dude, that is insane.
No, it's the darkest Ardbeg I've ever seen.
And it's reddish too. Huh.
70. I think it's 78, maybe. So it's close.
That's awesome, man. Jeez.
Oh, I can't. My eyes aren't working great right now.
That's okay. I mean, that's it's good to know, at least if you get like a. Have you ever tried Chieftains before? Do they have any good independent bottlings?
I have. That's the one. I'm not. To me personally, I've tried some decent ones, but I kind of stay away from them a little bit. It can be hit and miss, and maybe a little more miss than hit for me.
That's good to know for me, because I did have the Petite Solis guy had some Chieftains. He had like an Ardbeg and Lafroig, and you usually don't see those on the independent market at all, especially for Ardbeg. Ardbegs are rare to go on the independent market.
If you can get, let's see. I'm trying to think. This probably this has just come to the United States, and this is by the same guy who owns Whisky Exchange, but it's the single malts of Scotland. There's one bottle. There's a Mortlach 26-year-old, but if you can, they put out some great products, and I've not had a bad one yet.
Single malts of
Scotland. I've bought a decent amount of their lineups they put out. And I mean, I wouldn't say there's any that are just like incredibly just. Excellent. I don't know, maybe, but they're all solid. They're all very good, and I'd say worth the price of the ones I've had.
Do you get like those through auction, or how do you find those?
No, these I found retail here locally. So.
Oh wow, okay.
I'd say look around for those.
When you say locally, do you have like a special place in Nashville that you can get like local independent bottles from?
I have probably good relationships with 2 or 3, probably 3 places here. But I mean, most, they don't get their pricing and their selection, or it's limited because for Scotch, it's all bourbon here. So
yeah,
but they get luckily they started picking these up. So, and there's like a Lacheg 14-year-old, nice dark sherry. That's a really good one. So, but they do a lot of good stuff. So I think if you find something from a distillery you like with them, and you might be able to even find those for sale online, and have shipped to you if you can't get them in Maryland. I'm sure that hopefully some guys has got, can get those, but I think everything I've had has been pretty quality. They just put out Ben Nevis, a 22-year-old or 23-year-old that was good. So
I'll definitely take a look for a single malt of Scotland and the
yeah.
Adelphi single cask Nation. Have you had a lot of Blackadders before?
Yeah, I mean, I've had some, and I'm once again, I haven't had any that just have pulled me into that independent baller.
Okay.
Some have been kind of fine, and they do that, unfiltered stuff, and which is fine and everything. But I don't know if, I just haven't trusted them. I haven't had any like really incredibly great Blackadders for the price, and plus I think they're too expensive in my area. So
Gotcha.
I just haven't had any.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if when I do, when I do my journey, and if I hit rock bottom and I haven't found a good Jura, it's like which versions should I look for, kind of thing.
I mean, for that to be a hill you're going to die on, man. There's so many other hills you can die on. I don't understand Jura to be the hill you want to do it on. I just don't, man. It just boggles my mind, man.
It's only because it's like
you have like kind of a say, I don't know, man.
That's a good sadist thing.
Blood for punishment, That's what it is.
It's just intriguing to me because even with Dalmore, you can find a somewhat decent distillery bottle with the 18 or one of the higher aged ones, even though they're like rock bottom 43%. Mm-hmm. But Jura is one of those that you rarely ever hear anything good about outside of the UK. There is some diehard Jura fans in the UK. I don't know why and what keeps them afloat, but after you have a release and your only decent one's a 16 year, and you kill the entire line and you get rid of that 16, you start all over and you've got like a 10, a 7 wood, a 18 and a 21, and you still don't get it right. I'm like, how do they stay afloat? They got to have some like weird cult following in the UK. I've heard that they do well there, but that's just weird.
I mean, to me, it's like Bowmore. I think, their official lineup, they're 25. I had that. And I think Kenny and John on here can attest to this. I hated that shit. It was a drain pour. I wouldn't drink it for anything. Oh, it was. It was that bad. I hated it. It made Ardbeg Black look like the best thing ever. That's just for you, Telex. That was just for you. But I take that. I think Ardbeg's a fine. I like the black, but not to that. For the price. We won't go in down that. That's a road we do not need to. We've already traveled. But the Bowmore. Oh man, it's just the 25. I can't believe they have a fall. And I can believe they have a falling because I've been there and I've tried single cask and special releases they've done that were fantastic. So it's just their official releases, man. They are just. I've not had any really good ones from them, and I don't know. I almost pulled the trigger on a 18-year-old cask strength one here, a hand filled that I could get this week, and I almost did it, but I didn't. I went a different route. I might do it just to get it in and try it because I that's my white whale. I want to find some really good Bowmores because they have such a good reputation because of their 60s and early 70s distillate. And I think they went through a really bad, 80s were really low, but I think they're in the 90s, late 90s. I think they've started making some quality stuff again, and I'd like to try some, really good high ABV Bowmore that's quality. But yeah, that Bowmore, it was just, it's probably what $300 something bottle, and I wouldn't pay. I wouldn't pay. I'd pay somebody money just to not let me have it. So
Have you had the over here they call it the Doris Moore, and over in Europe they call it the Tempest? Have you had the Bowmore Doris
Tempest,
Moore,
I
the
know
Tempest?
the Tempest. I've heard of that. I guess, but I haven't had the Tempest. No.
That's the one you should definitely get. Over here it's called the Doris Moore. Over in Europe they call it the Tempest. In Tempest years they have like 6 different releases. Over here they only have 3 Doris Moores, unless they've had a recent one. They might have had a recent one, but the Doris Moore is actually really good. I thought I did not like the small batch or the number 1 or the 12, the 15 or
Yeah.
18 even. Bowmore is just too thin and too just doesn't really do it for me. But keep your if you find a Doris Moore, just I don't care which release it is, pick it up and let me know. It's only like it's like 110 to 120. It's not crazy, but it is high ABV and it's a thicker mouth coat than most of the Bowmores. So I think it's worth just to take a look at.
I can tell you. I mean, from my experience, I mean it's crazy because Bowmore, like their Shill releases, they are right there with the Ardbeg single cask. I mean, being the most sought after ones on Isla.
Kenny hates it. I'm surprised that he thought it was terrible.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
John thinks it's drinkable, but he still thinks it's not. I mean, yeah, if you're comparing it to their old, like Steven was saying, their old like 1980s stuff, I'm sure it's night and day difference. But I'm just saying, if you want something that's new, that you don't have to spend a whole lot of money on the try, I thought it was worth a shot. But I don't know. He only paid $50 for it. Wow.
Kenny's like Dustin; he does not mince words.
That's fine. I don't blame him, but I'm just surprised. I mean, because if you gave me a Doris Moore and you gave me like a 12 or even an 18, I would go for the Doris Moore all day long, comparatively, to those. But I'm not saying that it's not like this much difference. It's like this much difference, but enough to at least if you're spending more than $50 on something, you won't feel as bad.
Well, you got some whiskey snobs on here right now. Telex, so just take it with a grain of salt. Oh
yeah, no, I know how it goes. I'm getting there myself. The more of these great things that you guys send, it's like, my God. It's just I don't want to have to save up $500-700 to get it either.
That's why you rely on good friends, man. That's what it's all about anyway. So,
well,
I've had incredible bottles. John and Kenny have. I've had some incredible bottles from those guys. So, yeah, it's all about sharing, man. It really is.
I've heard some good stuff going about some Wolfburn bottles. I haven't tried any myself. They're a newer distillery. They're kind of like Kilhoman, but they don't really have anything that's like 10, 12 years readily available yet. But I've heard that if you're going to get a bottle of their stuff, like the Aurora, I think it's called the Aurora or the Marvin or Morvin. I can't remember which one, but Morvin and Aurora are supposedly pretty good versions. They have a couple other ones, but that one's kind of one of those. I do have it on my list to try soon, but
so I got a question for you, Telex. So this is about new distilleries, okay?
Yeah.
What's the newer distillery that you're most excited about? And let's take Kilhoman out of the picture because I mean they're somewhat new, but I mean it's an Isla, and I'm pretty excited. I'm excited about seeing their older stuff too.
Yeah.
But what distillery are you most excited about? New distillery? Because I would probably say Kilhoman right now because I know they do great stuff compared to what I can think about the other distilleries that I know they're coming up. But I haven't tried a lot of new distilleries. Oh, did I lose you? No sound.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Oh, there you are. Okay, I didn't know
Sorry, it was me. I keep hitting the damn button for some reason. Sorry about that.
Okay, no problem.
I'm gonna go through. I'll give it like an up and down, like Emperor style vote on the new ones and tell you if I think it's worth your time or not. And I'm doing this in alphabetical order. I'm not doing this in any special order.
Whiskey Throttle says lag, which I agree. I'm excited to see what they put out. I think,
I'll get there. Let me go in alphabetical order. So the first one on my list is Aventurg, and it's my least favorite new distillery that I've ever had. So
where are they located? Are they Highlands?
They are an island region, so in the islands.
Okay.
They are specifically in the Isle of Lewis, if you're familiar with geography there. But they're independently owned. They're not owned by a big guy. They've had 2 releases. They've had an inaugural, which was absolutely horrible. And then they've had a 10-year that they recently released. I haven't tried it because the 3-year was so bad, but I'm kind of intrigued. They're not easy to get overseas here in the United States, though. So it's one to maybe pick up if you find a 10. If you find a 3-year, just set it on fire. It's that bad. Elsa Bay is another good. It's a good one. I'm excited about them on the first release. The second release that we just recently reviewed, it wasn't as good, and I think they're getting too scientific in the lab for what they're trying to do. So that one's kind of like I have to go middle of the road. I'm not. And Aventurg was a down. Elsa Bay is kind of a let's see what happens. A mid-grade thumb on that one. On Ardmaturin. Ardmaturin's Adelphi owned, and it's a Highland. It's actually good. I think Ardmaturin is one of those to actually keep an eye out and maybe get on board.
How old is that one? Do you know?
The Ardmaturin that I had was a spirit, which means in Scotland, unless it's 3 years, they can't call it a Scotch. So, just to give you a more,
they're less than 3 years old. That makes sense. Okay.
The one that I had was, but let me see something real fast. Ardna. I could spell Ardna, or type, I should say, Ardna Merchant. I got it right. Yeah, they've had a few. They're labeled as Ardmaturin Spirit 2018 AD. They have a 2019 AD, a 2017 AD, and a 2016 AD.
Mm-hmm.
They all rate decently. The best one seems to be the 2017 for some reason. It averages about 3.8 out of 5. And for a spirit that's not even a Scotch yet, that's promising. It's like 53.6 ABV, but it's only 2 years old. They're trying to be creative with the cask types, like it's an X-Sherry Octaves with XPX, casks and whatnot. But I just want them to put out a good basic spirit. So, and I've had I think the one I had was the 2018 one, which was not all that great received. I think I gave it like let me see if I did a rating on it. Was it 2019 or 2018? Let me see.
What are you drinking, man? I haven't seen you have a drink in a while. What you up to there?
I was sipping on the side just a Holland Park 12 just for giggles. It's out of the side. Okay. I don't have anything poured right now. I might pour something here in a second, though.
I'm gonna have one more, and then I'm done for the night. But,
I hear you. What are you gonna pour?
I don't know. Let's see.
This Ardmaturin thing, though, I would give it a slight thumbs up because Adelphi owns it. So they got promise that they're going to be good. Another new one. Let's see. I'm just going through the list to see if anything pops open that's brand new. Lag, like you said, was definitely one that caught my ear because it's Aaron related. A Daft Mill is decent, but they charge way too much for their new make. Like we're talking like auction prices, and
I know.
But it's good stuff, though. I will give it.
It is quality. It is quality. I've got one here. In fact, I'll have a drink of it. Why not? That'd be my last.
There you go. If it's already open, tell me what you get.
Summer release, 12-year-old, 2006. Yeah,
I had the same exact thing, except mine was the winter release when I tasted a sample of it.
It
was good.
Quality stuff, but the price is too much. But you know what? The problem is, there's like 3 guys that work it, and the overhead's pretty expensive, and they're not, economies of scale is not there for them, and they do everything there at the farm. And it is what it is. But I don't think it's not because they're making hands over fist money, right? It's because it is an expensive endeavor, I think. So,
Yeah.
But I'd love to try some of their single cask strength bottlings. Those go for a crazy amount of money. But I'd love to try one and see. But I think they're good. I would not pay again for what I paid for that one, probably. But if someone had a cask strength one, even 12-year-old, maybe a first fill Oloroso sherried one for $275, I'd probably buy it.
That's not a bad deal, actually. Yeah, if
You could sell it. You could sell it for double that or more.
Yeah. So. I would definitely buy the drink, but yeah, no, I know what you mean on that.
I would buy the drink too. Yeah.
If I had a chance to get one of those, I would join him on that, because that winter release was pretty good, and I think the summer one was doing pretty well too. Looks like I got a heckler. Who is he? What is he bitching about me pronouncing now? Ardmerkin, whatever it is. Ardmerkin, probably. I don't know. I haven't heard anybody say it yet, so I haven't learned. One I'm looking forward to is Annandale, only because the Johnston name, that's my last name. The Johnstons come from Annandale region in Scotland and the Lowlands. Mm-hmm. I'm just curious to see what they can put out for a spirit, and they should be releasing something pretty soon, I think. Annandale is one to look out for. Ardnahoe, of course, I'm extremely excited about. I've heard good things about the new make taste, even from Ardnahoe, from a trusted source. Mm-hmm. So Ardnahoe is definitely in the top 3. Eden Mill is a good distillery. I've had independent bottlings of SMWS style, and they are a lowland that is, I think, going to be a good one to look out for in the future. Yeah. Have you had Eden Mill before?
No, I haven't. Bimber is one I've been wanting, but that's the English distillery, right?
Which one?
Bimber,
yeah.
That's the one that I think a lot of people are whiskey nerds are interested in trying. It is. I am not too keen on it. I mean, it's an English distillery, so I kind of have. I don't know. I don't look down on those, but. I'm sure it's good, but it's young and
yeah.
For the price, I think it's going for just too much money.
Ardnamurken. I can't say Ardnamurken. That's a tough one.
You're a better man than me. I'm not even gonna try it.
Ardnamurken. That's a mouthful, but this one is. I'm gonna type it because I don't even know how to say this. It's so crazy. But this, I saw the bottle just released yesterday.
John Meadville says I'm racist. No, I am. I am. What I don't know what the word probably for nationality, whatever. Not the nationality, but I am anti-English, kind of in a way sometimes, because I am. My Irish blood gets in the way. So,
have you seen this one before?
No, I haven't.
This is a bottle that I've heard of this distillery, that they've been around for a while. It's a Highland. It's owned by a company called Drimnin Distillery Company. That is one that was just released recently, and I'm thinking it might be worth a little try. But if I can't say it, it's going to be really tough to find.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that I'm familiar with. As far as ones that are coming that I know that are coming that I'm not familiar with, I'll just go through real fast. There's Eberergi. It's a lowland that's going to be by Perth Distilling Company. Mm-hmm. Arbiki, it's going to be an independent Highland. Barra, it's going to be an island. It's owned by Iska Baith in Non-Elan. Like it's Irish, so it's hard to say that one. But it's Scottish, but it's a Gaelic deal.
Yeah.
Borders, Clydeside, Dalmanock, Dornoch, Glasgow, Glenwivis, Harris, Inchdairney, 11, Lindorse Abbey, Lone Wolf, Race.
Wait, all of those are coming online?
They're coming online as we speak. I still got a few more to go. Raasay, Raasay. It's an islands.
Yeah.
R&B Distillers Group. Rose Isle, it's a Diageo Speyside. Strathern, a Highland Independent.
Wait, Rose Isle, but Rosebank is opening back up, I think. So, is that what?
No, this is a Diageo Speyside release called Rose Isle, Roseisle.
Okay.
Strathern, which is an independent Highland. A Torabhaig, which is Torabhaig, kind of like a BH equals a V, so Torabhaig probably.
Right.
Mossburn Distilleries is going to be an Islands distillery in the Isle of Skye. Twin River is going to be a D-side brewery and distillery company out of Bancory. It's a Highland. So those are the ones that are coming that are not available yet. There's about a good 20 of those alone that are
What's
on
the one? What's the? Maybe it's fallen through, but there's one right there outside of Port Ellen that is coming online, or supposed to. It was approved, but it was a big deal about it, and there was some a lot of issues with the locals. But I think it came online. It's right there before you get on the way out to Lefroy. It's before Lefroy and the town, and I don't know. I'm curious if anybody remembers the name of it. If there's not been built yet, but it's been approved. I thought at least it was last year.
Are you thinking of the Gartbreck one?
I know it's right there outside the South Isla.
There was one next to Ardnahoe that was going to be approved that fell through called Gartbreck Distillery.
No, I'm not thinking about Ardnahoe. I know where Ardnahoe was.
No, not Ardnahoe, but I'm just saying that the Gartbreck.
Sorry, I'm talking to John. It's one right outside of Port Ellen, between Port Ellen and Lefroy.
I think you're talking about Gartbreck, because Gartbreck was hold on, let me pull up the I've got the story here on what happened with that fell through. 1 second. Douglas, it was Hunter Lang was going to be opening a distillery that was going to be also a new Isla one with Ardnahoe, but there was an issue with the land. I think I'm trying to find the.
Okay. That might have been it. Yeah, it might have been a land issue.
They said that the plans could be revived in 2017 because it was doomed to a land dispute. It sounds like there was some sort of the disagreement centers on a strip of land adjoining the Gartbreck site and earmarked for warehousing and car parking, which is owned by Hunter Lang, and which the project is understood to be untenable. It's now building its own distillery at Ardnahoe, but in early 2015, they were going to buy it from Dane, who was going to be a consultant. Hunter Lang demolished all the farm buildings and undertook further work to prepare. But before the final contract was signed, Dane decided to pull out of the deal. It looks
I think this is something. Hold on, I might be pulling it here. No, this is it. This is it. This is it's who it is. This is funny. It's Elixir Distilleries.
Elixir.
Which is the Whisky Exchange, which is Portishead, which is the single malts of Scotland, which is also the elements of Islay.
Oh yeah.
That's the Elixir Distilleries, and I just see a plan now. This is on spiritsbusiness.com. This is they originally did this back in November of 2018, right outside of Port Ellen, but it was there's some issues with it. But now they're making an exterior that matches the traditional look of other South Coast distilleries, like how they all look, the white and the matched Lefroy and Lagavulin and Ardbeg, which are right there all together. And it says will incorporate a floor malting capable of supplying 75% of the full 1 million liter annual capacity of the site. Has 16 washbacks and 4 sets of pot stills, as well as smaller stills, and a separate experimental still will produce some whiskey. And then, I mean, this is right. This is pretty exciting. I don't know if it's going to be called Elixir Distilleries, made of distillery. I don't know, but it might have a different name to it. But
I'm looking it up because I haven't heard of that one becoming a distillery, but let me see. There's Bitwalker, simplified deployments in Elixir with. Okay, hold on. I think I'm
Yeah.
finding something different here.
No, I can send you this, but it's yeah. This is the one I was thinking of because it's going to be built outside of Port Ellen, and I guess there was some issues with it, but it was originally unveiled in April 2018, and this one looks like from February of 2020 is when they were talking about it. So it sounds like they're going to maybe moving forward once, maybe COVID's probably put a little, dent in their plans, but I'm excited about that. I think Elixir, this is the Whiskey Exchange guy. The owner is the, what's his name? Sukhinder Sen. I don't know how to pronounce that, but
This is one that Daniel Whiskey Throttle was saying that I'm not even going to try to pronounce that because it's a mouthful. But inspiration for their name was I can't even do that one either. Nichneohun probably was an ancient Gaelic goddess. It's there's supposed to be a really new. That's the new organic distillery where it's probably going to be kind of like Springbank Green. I'm assuming.
Yeah, the Portishead does put out. I think Elixir, like I said, Elixir Distilleries does a good quality. This is what John was saying, but
aren't they like a bottling company and not really a distillery though?
They are a bottler. That's the Elixir Distilleries, but they own Portishead, the brand, which I don't. I have a Portishead here. Hold on a second. Let me see.
Yeah, as I've had Portishead, and I thought basically a lot of those were basically like rebottled Kalilas to a point.
They are, and they can also be. I have heard that maybe there's been a couple of Lagavulins in that. So.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Hey, good to see you, Jason Coates. It's been a while. I'm glad you stopped by. Yeah, we're just chatting about all the possibility of good new distilleries out there, and no matter what you get, Kilholman's a good version of what I mean. It's going to take 10, 15 years to get really a good setup to really put out some quality juice.
This is a good bottling, but these are the Portishead. That one's that's a good, not super expensive bottle. 10-year anniversary cast strength.
Nice. I was lucky enough to have a cast strength version of a Portishead at a tasting, and it was memorable enough to me think, yeah, if I wanted something a little different, this is actually worth a pickup. It was pretty good.
Yeah. They do good stuff.
You ever had any Chapter 7 bottles?
You know what? I was searching for one that I lost out on that I've heard good reviews on. The Miltendorf 20-something-year-old Miltendorf Chapter 7.
Yeah.
They're it's a Netherlands company.
I think so, yeah. I was looking up to have a couple of theirs. They're pretty good.
I do want to try them. I've heard I heard excellent things about that Miltendorf. That's it's like a fantastic, and that's mostly from Surge, who rated it like a 91 or something. They gave it a really good review.
I had a Chapter 7 when that was an Old Pulteney, and I had one that was a Lagavulin, and they were both pretty solid, so it's one to look out probably for. You don't see them a whole lot, but you do find them in some stores. It's kind of one of those.
So they're in the States right now?
Chapter 7 is like I think it's kind of similar to Elixir, where they have like they're like a bottling company.
No, I know, but then they're in the States. I didn't know they're in the States yet.
Yeah, Chapter 7, I've had at expos as far as tastings, and I've seen them for sale. I think Petite Cellars has got some. Let me see. They're actually online where you can order now, which is really nice.
Let me see if they have that Miltendorf. If they have that, I might have to do some work on that.
Doing a search on Chapter 7 on Petite Cellars. They have two. They don't have that one. They have a 9-year-old Altavania and a 9-year-old Altmore right now. Okay. So never mind. So they have young ones. But yeah, some of the older stuff is probably pretty good though, because the ones I had was I think they were mid-aged, like 12 or 15, and they were both solid. They were good versions. of the distilleries that they were doing. I like the Chapter 7 Old Pulteney better than the regular one, if that makes any difference.
Yeah. No, yeah. This is elixir distillers. They call them elixir distillers, but they're not. You're right. They're not distilling. They own a lot of companies right now that are independent bottlers, and they're trying to start the distillery on Isla. But
that would be cool if they pull that off, because we definitely need more Isla distilleries if we can get it.
I think so too. Another one on the South Island would be, on the south side of the island would be, I think, kind of cool to have another one there. It's I think they're really protected too. It's hard to get distillery approved there, and I think that's one reason they're the lag. I mean, the kind of the lag of the time frame there from 2018 to 2020. They haven't done anything yet because it's tough to get. Because I talked to somebody when I was there, and it's just difficult to get things approved.
I can imagine
they definitely move very slowly there because, for one thing, it's hard to get building materials there. It's hard to get anything there. It all comes over on boat.
Yeah.
Ferry. So it's very difficult. It's a hard process. So it's a long process, is what it's saying. So
you would also think that the people of Isla would be very protective of their name and their symbol of being an Isla malt. So you think that they'd be really particular on who's going to open it up, especially if you're a foreigner. I'm sure if you're not from there, they're probably like, whoa.
Yeah, that might have something to do with it. You're right. I didn't think about that, but that's very possible.
Because if I was, living on that island, man, I would be very protective of everything on it.
Yeah, that's very true.
I wish we had something similar to Isla in Maryland. This is like the perfect, area for like coastal brininess and all that, but we don't have any bogs here, man. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I wish we had a shitload of bogs in like Blackwater National. There's a Blackwater National Wildlife Refuge, just really marshy and really it has that potential, but I don't understand. I guess we're not farther north enough. I guess I'm not sure why.
But we have it's Washington State, Oregon. There's some bogs up there, right?
Maybe, I don't know. I was going to ask you if you were aware of any like geographical equivalents to Scotland in America.
Maybe not to that extent, but I think there are, because you've got that one distillery that puts out peated whiskey.
That Oregon one that is like Mick something. Starts with that Mick.
No, John's probably on. He'll know what we're talking about. I know Kenny has a few bottles.
Isn't it that one that tastes like a Lagavulin? It's like McCarthy's in Oregon or something.
No, it's not McCarthy's. I haven't liked any of the McCarthy's I've had. It's another that they have young spirit, but they know what they're doing. I feel like. And I don't know what the name is.
John said it funny. He's like, I don't know. They let Bowmore operate in Isla, so they must not be that picky. He's got a point. They've run that distillery to the ground.
It's not McCarthy's. It's I think it's Washington State is where it is. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Yeah, I'm curious because I need to find. He was thinking McCarthy's too, but that's the only one in Oregon I know that's got like some peated stuff that tastes like in Lagavulin. Supposedly, I never tried it, but it's on the to-do list. Do you like that one, John? Is it worth picking up, or is it just a complete waste? Jason's even funnier. He's like, Bowmore makes great whiskey. They just don't release any of it themselves.
That's so true. They release it when you can't get it, like they'll release it for Fischl, but or single cask, and they're those types, but you won't, you just can't get them.
Is it
Look, I had them. They're there, man. They have some really good bottles. I mean, I had one that was a 20-something-year-old first Olorosa manager's choice, manager's selection or something. And it was really, really good.
Is it Westland by chance?
That's it. Westland. That's it.
I'll have to take a look at that.
Yeah, try that. And I think they're just, it's young, what I had, and I don't like young whiskey that much, but to that extent, how young it was, maybe 3 years old, 4 years old. But I think it was good distillate, and I think they're going to have a good product if they continue to do what they're doing. And it was peated, so.
I think it sounds like the McCarthy's place basically gets all their peat from Isla, but hopefully this Westland place has some sort of local thing going on.
Well, let's
If
look and
all
see.
places, if all places in the United States, I think Washington State probably does have the best chance, unless Maine has got something going on. Maine might have, but it's too rocky probably in Maine to have any vegetation that's worth a damn to really do anything like the bogs.
Yeah, it's single malt whiskey. That's what they do in Westland. And then, I mean, I know they were really expensive. Was one of the issues for young whiskey, and that's one reason why I don't buy it. But I thought, what they're doing, I appreciate. And for being a U.S., distillery trying to do single malt, I was impressed by them. So
Looks like everybody gets their peat from Scotland, basically. It must be like just a perfect marriage of everything that you need to make it there.
yeah,
It kind of makes sense because there's not really any other islands that are right at that latitude, other than maybe Iceland, that would have, you would think, that kind of vegetation to be able to do it. Good to see you, Daniel. Thanks for stopping by, man. I appreciate it. McCarthy would be okay, but yeah, Scotch for $50 is kind of crazy for that price. They need some aged things. He was saying if they had some more aged spirit, that it might be worth a shot, but not so much if they are all like 4 or 5 year olds.
Yeah, and the ones that I was, maybe it was single cask or something, but they were like over $100 for young whiskey, and it's just it's a little too much.
He said that Jason said, and I trust Jason's got a good palate. He said if you ever give it a chance to get the cask strength, he's had it because it was one of the best American malts he's had. So that's a good sign.
With the Westland,
I think it was the McCarthy's actually.
Yeah, maybe so. I what I had I didn't like, but I didn't know. I don't know if it was cask strength. I don't recall.
Yeah, I think that's
honestly, let's put it this way. I mean, I'll try it, but I'm not going to spend hard-earned money on American single malt right now.
This brings
unless,
up
unless things, maybe as it gets older, as they put out older things, maybe so. I mean, I'm definitely not going to, but I think it's just like the craft distillery, the bourbon market, right? There's a lot of craft distilleries that are putting out, the young whiskey, but are overcharging for it. And I understand because you've got to make it's expensive. This is not easy.
Yeah.
Starting a distillery. So, but it's hard for me to spend the money on it. The quality doesn't meet the price. So
here's a good question for you. And Cohen was making the statement that Ireland has a ton of peat, which makes sense. The only Irish peated malt that I'm aware of is like Connemara, though. Is there a good peated Irish dram out there? Because
Connemara is the only one. I've been up in those peat bogs and where Connemara is, and there's a lot of peat up there. But they don't. They just, that's not the style that Ireland did, right? So it's not, from a traditional standpoint, it's just not kind of what they did, and it's not what they've because where the distilleries were mostly, they didn't have the peat. It wasn't peat that really they burned to do that. So, like where Middleton is, or in Dublin, where back when where Jameson was originally from, where that was, and there's a lot of distilleries, and probably there probably was, I'd say, prior to back in the turn of the century, the 20th century, there could have been a lot of, I don't know this for a fact, but there could have been a lot of peated Irish because there's so many distilleries back then. But after the Depression and Prohibition, a lot of them closed down because they were relying on the United States for a lot of Irish whiskey was sold here more than anything else, pretty much. So back in the day.
Does Connemara also triple distill like other Irish distilleries do, or do you know?
I don't know. I haven't had a lot of their stuff. I have the Middleton distillery is where I really kind of have what I buy and collect and drink.
Right. I've heard Middleton, if you're going to get an Irish malt, Middleton is definitely the one to get, or Redbreast.
Yeah, because they have so many great brands. I mean, they have the Redbreast, they have the the very rare, and I'm looking at right here, the Dar Galach the Irish wood one, which I love. They have the Jameson. They have powers. I mean, they have so many brands that are high quality Irish, whiskeys.
Does Middleton have any peated offerings?
No, not that I know of.
Isn't it crazy? I mean, wouldn't it be kind of cool if Middleton actually did a peated dram? I mean, I would be all over it just to try it. I've never tried a Connemara. I've heard mixed reviews about them being kind of like iffy, but that's one thing I got to check off my bucket list is to at least try an Irish peated offering. But it's a shame that you only can get like one distillery to do it. Jason was saying they're double distilled.
I think it is just they never did. It's just not traditional, and they just haven't done it. And I'm sure the peat's quality, I'd be interested in. But plus the spirit's different, right? It's not, it's not the Scottish single malt, right? How it's done. So maybe it doesn't handle the peat because I'm just throwing it out there because it's definitely a more delicate spirit. It seems like the way they do it with the malted and unmalted barley. So it's possible it just doesn't work as well. I'm sure. I can see that. I can definitely see where peat would not work as well because peat needs a pretty good. You want a good hefty spirit to kind of balance out the peat, right? You want something that's going to be powerful and I don't, the spiciness maybe would not be because usually pot still. It's also the way it's done, right? It's pot still. So it goes beyond my understanding, but I'm just assuming that that's probably one reason why it doesn't always work well and hasn't been done.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I never bought a bottle of Middleton before, but if I ever do get an Irish one, that's the one I'll probably start with, just to try not to do it.
This one, I had this the other night, and man, this is just such a great one. And there's another one available I know right now, and I'm debating on whether to get it before I can. But this is the Dar Galach. I guess I don't know. Gaelic. It's Irish wood, Irish oak is what this is. It's one of the bottlings that this is the first Irish whiskey in over a century, probably 120, 130 years that has used Irish oak to be matured in.
Wow.
And they do it in standard American oak, and then they transfer it over to Irish oak for over a period of sometimes up to 18 months, something like that. They let it age in virgin Irish oak.
Wow.
And they do each of them, like this one here is tree number 4. So they do each series. They have like 7 trees.
Oh, wow.
Fell, and then they use those trees to make the cask. And they put it all together. One tree. This is all it's from.
I wonder if the case is from the tree too, maybe.
The what?
It'd be cool if the case is from the tree. That'd be awesome.
Nice. I don't think so, but it would be cool. But they're all very different. It shows you kind of the influence of the wood, because this one has almost sherry, some sherry influence, but there's no sherry, but it has slight notes of sherry influence in it, which is weird. But the other ones are very vanilla forward. So it's really cool. I think Irish is I think there's some very interesting whiskeys out there in Ireland. I enjoy them, especially when they're done right. And I think Middleton does a good job.
I'm going to have to get more into that. And before we go, I was going to give you just the last part of the what was coming up down the road. After the whole Jura debacle, we're going to take a look at Lagavulin, and we're going to take a look at some we're going to compare the white and green Laphroaig 18. So we're going to sit down and try that, and also compare it with a lower and a 25-year-old Laphroaig. We're going to try
that 18 sweet. I mean, it's super sweet, the 18 Laphroaig.
The green or the white or both?
I think they're the same.
I've only had the white. I haven't had the green. He's got an old green bottle, and I had the old white. So we're going to do a little swap of that.
I mean, batches are a little different. It could be, but I think I don't recall a huge difference. But I mean, it depends on the, it could be, there could be differences. So.
And we're going to close it out for this will probably take us to the end of the year at some point, but we're going to look at I usually don't get heavily into Macallans, but it is one of the most famous distilleries out there, so we kind of have to take a look at them. But we're going to make it interesting. We're going to do a Macallan 12 Sherry Oak just to get, the palate flowing. We're going to look at a possible 6th edition, which will come out around, I think it's 6th. Is that 6th or 8th? I think it's 6th edition. And a classic Macallan 18. I'm going to try to pick one up take one for the team and buy a Macallan 18. It's like $320. Yeah, like $320, man. Just crazy. I don't know. I'm not sure why I'm doing it, but I want to have a solid, nice Macallan, either 18 or 21-ish, bottle. But I know I'm asking for pain when I shell out that kind
You really are, man. I applaud you. I just,
it's painful.
You're gonna be so utterly disappointed for $320, man.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's not even gonna be funny. I mean, let me sell you, seriously. I'll send you a Glendronach single cask. A 14 or 15-year-old that will just destroy that Macallan.
Yeah.
I mean,
what if I went for the Fine Oak 21? Would that be much better or not worth the difference?
You're gonna pay a lot more money.
Yeah.
And you'll be utterly disappointed also.
Oh, really? Like Fine Oak 18 or 21? Either Fine Oak 18 or 21?
I just don't do it, man. I'm telling you, in my experience, and we'll listen to the chat, see what they say. I mean, maybe I'll think, but it's get a sample and try it, and let and rate it. But I wouldn't spend $400 or $500 for a 21-year-old Macallan Fine Oak. Not even sherry.
It is sad sounding when you put it that way.
I mean, why would anybody get a non-sherry Macallan?
No, that's true. I mean, I did enjoy it. I was lucky enough to have a sample of the Fine Oak 21 before, and it was memorable. It wasn't my favorite of between the Bruichladdich Black Arts 4.1 and like Ardbeg 20
something. Right, you can get a lot cheaper, right? I mean, you can. So, I mean, I'm just saying for the price. Look, man. I understand what you're doing, and it's great. But there's so many better drams out there, and that's the problem.
Yeah, it's just for the. I mean, let me put it this way: if you were just collecting distillery bottles and you were trying to get close to 18 to 21 years for all of them, what would you even get from a Macallan that would be? I mean, the 18 is barely affordable as it is. I mean, I could.
Well, I mean, I counted today. I have 522 bottles, and I can tell you, I don't have one Macallan.
Wow. Wow. That does say a lot. It does say a lot, and I'm with you. That's why I never really review them. Is because I enjoy the 12 for what it is, just for a nice sweet dram. But other than that, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, look, I have had good. I had good Macallans from past years. I've had some of the cask strength Macallans back in the day that you could get. And some of the 10-year-old cask strength, and I've had some of the old 18s. That were good, not worth the money. I had an old 18. I had a 1988, 89, 87, somewhere in there, late 80s, before when they did the Paxaretta, whatever it's called. That I had one of those old 18s that I sold.
Oh man!
I sold it for over. This is over a year ago. I sold it for over $1,000.
Yeah.
And why would I want a 43% ABV Macallan that I will never open because of the price it's worth? I just got rid of it. So.
I don't blame you. The only Macallan that was memorable that I do remember enjoying a lot.
Look, there is, like Jason's talking. I'm sorry, but the red box 12s at the old price. Yeah, I mean those were fantastic. I mean that's some of those old. What they go for now is incredible. The cask strength ones in the red box are, that's an $800 bottle now. It's just the price. The price is so inflated. It just cannot make the quality. That's the problem.
Yeah. The only one that stuck out in my mind that I would definitely want to try again at some point, but I don't think it's worth the price, is the black version of the Macallan Rare Cask, the black that's 48%. It's a smoky version of it. It's a one of those travel retail exclusive deals, but it's a non-chill filtered, 48% ex-sherry European and American oak. That one was really good, but it's an NAS, so it's like you don't even know what the hell you're really getting, which drives me crazy.
Yeah. It just, Macallan is really, honestly, Macallan is made for the collector. That's
Yeah.
what Macallan, their special bottlings, the 18 and the 12. Look, the 12's fine, but I like the Glendronach 12 more.
I agree. Yeah.
I think it has more character, but because I enjoy a little bit more. I like the Glendronach distiller more because I'm more of a Glendronach guy. But
Me too. No, I'm with you in that one.
But it's it's smooth. The Macallan 12 is smooth, but but I mean, I don't know. I just think Macallan is just not there. It's for the collector. It's for the people that for a status they'd like to have on their bar. But the quality for us, like whiskey with me, is just not there for the price.
It's painful because I asked the petite cellars guy that I deal with, I'm like, hey, what's your top 3 sellers of everything that you sell? And they're probably one of the higher, yield Maryland distributors out here. And he was, and in the top 3, Macallan was one of them. And I'm like thinking, well, I guess it's time to do a Macallan show, even though it's against my better judgment. But at the same time, it's like,
no,
what do you do?
And I'm talking about modern Macallan, right? I'm talking about today's Macallan, the last few years Macallan. I'm not talking about the 90s, early 2000s, the 80s, the 70s, which are, you're getting into incredible whiskeys. Macallan has a name because they were and are, it's a good distillery still, but they're not putting out the cask. It's all about the cask. Right?
Yeah.
They have they have their own bodega in Spain, right? I mean, where they get their own cask. So it's all about, but they're still not getting the cask they had in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s, and that's where that's when they made their name, and they're not keeping up with that quality. They just, that's it. I'm not against the distillery. All the Macallans that I had I've had 10 years and 12 years, 18s. 25s. I owned a 30 and sold it.
Who do you think's doing that job now today? Is that Glendronach, or is there a distillery that does like the sherry that you think that's doing it right today, or are they all lost? Basically,
well, I don't think they're all lost. I think Glendronach, to me, it took that, especially, but you're losing that window of Glendronach a little bit. I feel like. I think, but not yet, because I enjoy before they shut down a little bit, had a 96, pre-96. Really, it's pre-90. I love 93, 92 vintage Glendronachs. I love 90, 94. I've had a lot of good ones. 95, I haven't had as many good ones, but they're out there. There are good ones out there. And with Glendronach, I feel like they did take that mantle but now they're almost getting aged out, right? Because all the pre-1996 is getting really old. And Glendronach, to me, you can still have great ones, and you still will have great ones. But I think they're 20 to 25-year-old single cask are fantastic. But they can get a little, too old. I mean, it depends, right? It all depends on cask. And their prices have gone up. Like when I was buying a bunch, and as you know, it's all Glendronach, and they go 4 back, right? So it's all cast.
Wow.
And when I was buying that, that started maybe 4 or 5 years ago. That was a great value, and people weren't on board as much. But now people are, and they've gone up in value a lot in price. So now it's a little, it's tougher. Like, I mean, I got this one. This is one of the first single. I just got this in. I found it in Europe. This is one of the first single casts that Billy Walker ever did. This is probably the first. This was done by a whiskey shop in Canada that went out of business in Glendronach, grabbed all of them and then sold them in the distillery. But it's a 17-year-old 1992.
Oh, nice.
Cask 401. Done in 2009.
Wow.
So a long time ago. This is one of the first ones that was done, and I overpaid for it a little bit, and but I'm happy to get it because I've heard fantastic things from kind of Glendronach Scary Heads.
I'm glad you brought him up, because I was going to ask you if you were going to ask me who is going to be the next, like who should you be buying now, maybe as far as like you were 5 years ago. What about Glenelg? Because he came from Glendronach and went to Glenelg. I wonder if they're going to be like the next good set of old school stuff to buy from, or if that's kind of or do you think that has any play where he is, the fact that he went from Glendronach to Glenelg, if he's going to make it like that was 4 or 5 years ago, you know what I mean?
I've not had any Glenelg that I've really liked.
Right.
And including their single cast. So, but I mean, they're putting out a lot, and I think, he knows what he's doing. The problem is he's working with a distillate that he didn't produce.
Right.
So, and he did the same with Glendronach, but I just haven't been as impressed with Glenelg.
Since he's been there,
people are buying it because of Billy Walker, right? So,
are you going by the old stuff or the new stuff?
Do what?
Are you going by the old stuff or the new stuff when you say I don't really like it that much?
I mean, I'm talking about ones he's released that I've tried, that I've been a fan of.
Okay.
So, and but
it's probably the distillate itself, like you said, is probably just not as there as.
I just haven't, I'd rather buy Glendronach, so I'm not, so I'm not going to spend a bunch of money on whiskey that I'd rather buy Glendronach. So,
right.
I mean, that's my. I really do buy. I've got a lot of, but I buy to drink them, right? So I'm really thinking about not, I mean, look, do I have a little bit of investment thinking about it? Yeah, but my plan is to drink every bottle I have.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if I could do that in my lifetime, so I'm kind of like,
I'll help you out on the side a little bit.
yeah, please do. But
I might give you a little tap on the shoulder and give you a little pep talk and help you out a little bit.
That's a great question about the next big thing.
Yeah, because I was just kind of trying to have a hypothesis. Thinks I thought, well, if he's there and if he was with Glendronach and did all these great things to build it to be the new Macallan, and if it's not where it used to be, 5-6 years ago, then somebody hopefully is going to step up and bring that to the masses again. But
I don't know. I think it's difficult to call that out. I mean, maybe, I mean, okay, I'm going to throw a couple up that I think I'll just, because I have to think of like appreciated distilleries, and I think
the new Aaron stuff, I think you were on the money. I think the new Aaron stuff has potential of being really good.
Yeah, I think, but I'm trying to think like maybe maybe Lacheg might be one. Tobermory, the Lacheg.
I think Tobermory.
The Tobermory, right? I think their peated stuff I enjoy for the distillate more than the Tobermory.
The Tobermory stuff is no joke. Like I was at an expo and had a 21-year-old, and I was surprised at how well the 21-year-old Tobermory by itself, even though it was not a expensive dram or anything like that was outstanding. I don't even know if it was cask strength or anything, but it did have a lot of good refinement to it. Like it was,
Right.
But
I mean,
but Lacheg is one of my favorite, like non-Isla peated distilleries. Lacheg's definitely up there.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you. What I'm gravitating now when it comes to more of the middle tier distilleries, I guess, or maybe not middle tier, but to collectors, it's maybe more middle tier. But I mean, the Kalilas is one. I mean, Talisker, cask strength Talisker, which has gone up a lot in value too. But I love the old the cask strength, anything cask strength Talisker. That it's really weird. I mean, Bunnahabhain is kind of still slightly under the radar, but not really. And I like that distillery a lot, but it's not my favorite Isla. I mean, there's other Islas that I enjoy more.
Right.
But good question, man. I don't know what I think. Ben Nevis is still under the radar, and I think to me that's the big distillery that I'm still buying whatever I can buy.
Which one?
Ben Nevis.
Yeah, that's true.
to me, that's probably and I don't like telling people that because I don't want anybody to buy any. But I mean, if they only knew what they had, and I don't know if they know. I don't think the Japanese who own Anika, who owns it, really care. They want to use it only to build up, to keep their brand going in Japan. But if they could really, if somebody could get in there and buy it from Nika and run that distillery and put some money into it, and they have their stock. I'm sure. I mean, that to me is like, to me, that's almost the next Springbank if it's done right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it might make you feel better that to me, like I'm with you, like Benevis and Springbank and those funky, nice, slightly sulfuric drams are those are definitely some of my favorites. But I don't think a lot of people are like us.
You know, Jason's telling me to shut up, and that's, you know, I should be. I've had too many drams, Jason. That's why I'm talking too much. About Ben Nevis, because he's a Ben Nevis freak like I am. And
but to make you guys feel better, I don't think that, even though I'm with you and I enjoy a Springbank and a Ben Nevis, I think most whiskey drinkers don't love it as much as we do when it comes to that funky, nice sulfuric stuff that you can get off of Ben Nevis. So
well, but you know what? See, the sulfuric, I don't agree with you because I've had a lot more Ben Nevis probably than you. And I don't think you'd be surprised how the 96 to 98 Ben Nevis, that distillate, is so apricotty, so fruity, and it's surprisingly that.
I'm not saying sulfuric in a bad way though. I'm saying
Yeah,
I'm just seeing it has a little
I know what you're
factor
saying.
to it.
But it's so different than Springbank. But some you do get the funk, some you get that. I know what you're saying, but it depends on.
This one tonight was a good example where you don't get the funk at all. Like I got it only at the very end when I went back to it, like for a third drink. Then I might have got a little bit of tinge of it, but I mean it's enough to make me like it even more. I do like that funkiness too.
I am not sure if it was the distillate or the cask with that
Right.
change of what I think it. And when I say funk, it really wasn't funky. I think it was more of a burnt matchstick, very light, right?
Yeah.
In the very back of it. And
yeah, when I use words like
when
I use words like funky or sulfuric, I'm not using them in a negative connotation. I'm using them as just to try to describe that little tinge of extra flavor. I think of it as a good thing when it comes to like some of the drams, like even the Bowmore 15 Darkest, it's got like a little funkiness to it that, you know, it's just a flavor thing.
Ben Nevis, though, you're right about people. It's not, and as some people are saying, and John knows, Mead Mule, it's not a beginner's whiskey, right? It's like
right.
But that's why it's going to, you know, the whiskey drinkers, the real true whiskey drinkers, what can cause that price to just jump up, you know, for the price.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that when I look at it, I look at the secondary pricing and what, you know, in the demand for these things. But the issue is that Ben Nevis doesn't put out a lot of stuff on its own, official bottling. So you have to, you know, it's all about the independent bottler with those. And
just start sending people to Mortlock instead.
To do what? To move them to Mortlock?
Just send them to Mortlock instead. Say Mortlock's the best thing to go get. Go buy that right now.
I mean, Mortlock's one of my favorite space size, but it's not Ben Nevis to me yet. It's not gotten to this point. This is one that I just got not long ago here too from the guy I got the other Ben Nevis from, but
ooh.
Yeah, that's an official bottling, but it's a 70?
Oh man.
1970, bottled in 1996. So
how many years is that?
What is this? This is 70, 80, 90, 26 years old.
Oh my goodness gracious, man.
Yeah.
Is that like a plus $600, $700 bottle probably?
Yeah, it is.
That's what I was thinking. I was trying to figure out how much would it cost me, and I'm like, once you went above like 15 to like 20 something, that's when it's like it just skyrockets.
Well,
it's great.
It's older distiller, right? It's 1970, so it's that adds value to it. So you know, because you can get 26-year-old a lot cheaper, but it's more newer make. So
yeah. I hate to run this short, man. I do have
no,
to.
man, you're not right short. We've been on plenty. I got to get off. But
I have to work tomorrow, unfortunately.
I do too.
But it's always, you're having a great time when you blink and the half hour just like flies by. So there you go. We'll definitely do it again, and I'll definitely try to get you a couple things on the side. And thanks for definitely all the things that you've done for us in the past. It's been well appreciated.
And
you definitely opened my eyes to Ben Nevis not always being funky, because you're exactly right. That first strain we had, I was thinking it was a Ben Ryack of all things. I was thinking more like, a really good solid space because of all the fruit and all the thing, all the mid-level fruit you were getting from it. I never would have thought it was a Ben Nevis until that came back, and I did get a little tinge of that nice funky matchstick kind of thing, but it was very subtle in a good way. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and I could have given you. I've got some old, 20-something-year-old Ben Nevis but in the that's the ex bourbon or something, and you're not going to get any matchstick or any sulfuric notes at all.
Oh wow!
Older, yeah. So it's you get tons of fruit in those. So it all depends, man. It's just there's so much. But you're right. I mean, some of the younger ones in the cask, it all depends. And I mean, yeah, Ben Nevis can definitely be more, challenging dram, but it's good stuff. Good stuff.
Oh, it's very, very good. And definitely keep in touch. I'll see you on the next whenever. I think John said he's good for Sunday, but I'll make sure on the side and make sure we're all good for that. And I really appreciate you stopping by and having the chat with us, man. And you're welcome anytime you want to come.
Yeah, man. No, I appreciate it. Always good to drink with you. It really is.
And you guys too in the field, Jason, Amid, Donner, Ben, Kenny's probably gone, but I got to get with Kenny on the side. He sent a couple really nice drams, man. It's enough to make you drool. It's crazy.
Yeah, you need to get Kenny on here. He'd be a hoot, I'm sure.
I'm trying to get with him on the side, and because he sent like 4 really crazy samples, and I was surprised that he was willing to send them, and I thought, well, hell, I'll just try to, you think he would do a show? Would he come on and talk about it?
Ask him, yeah, just ask him.
I'll have to ask him and see what he thinks. Thanks a lot, John, for the feedback, and we'll definitely be back here next Tuesday to chat, and hope you guys have a really good week. I've had a great day. This was like icing on the cake. Thanks a lot, Steven. I'll see you soon, man.
See you, Telex.
Slanchavad, everybody.